Guys, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning. Thanks for spending it with us. Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. Coming up, 10 o'clock, Jesse Brown, socialist member of the Indianapolis City County Council, is going to join us. And we're going to talk about his vote for the wheel tax in Indianapolis. We're going to talk about the data center ban for the city. And then we're going to get into what it actually means to be a socialist. Given the comments made by Megan Romer, the vice chairman of the Democrat Socialists of America, what do the socialists actually want? What do they stand for? What do they believe? What does the country look like for them? Like, realistically, how do things get implemented? I'm going to ask him all the stuff. I'll tell you guys this. It's a rather spirited back and forth, and it's actually a really important conversation. So that's coming up today at 10 o'clock. But first, we have a segment each day dedicated to audio from around the country. And you guys know our bread is buttered with Indiana news and politics and government. But we also know there's stuff happening all across the globe, and we want to showcase that for you as well. So we're going to get into a whole bunch of local stuff. And in fact, with our audio today, we're going to start locally. And we're going to start with, and we don't do a lot of sports on this show, but we do talk about sports if it transcends society. And what's going on in the WNBA right now is transcending society. And I think you're seeing several things at play in the WNBA right now. Of course, the big thing is this ridiculous charade. The WNBA, out of political correctness, out of wokeness, has tried to keep up that somehow men are women and women are men, and that there's no difference. I mean, that is a leftist talking point that the left has tried to infiltrate into the mainstream. And it is, of course, falling apart now as former NBA players are calling their bluff and saying, okay, cool. If men can be women and men can play in the women's basketball league, sign us up. And obviously now there's a mass panic with the WNBA because they know that'll be the end of the league. They can't have it, yet they're stuck because they've kept up this facade out of political correctness that men can be women. Men can participate in women's sports and it'll all be fine. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is what's going on with the WNBA right now is that the Golden Goose is plural, geese, the Golden Geese, there you go, of the WNBA are white women. You think about the women that are getting the most amount of mainstream media attention in the WNBA, and they're white women, and they play on the same team. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham. And the abuse that these women are enduring on the court and off, to some extent, are ridiculous. And it is obvious, based on the actions by other players in the league, they really hate these two women. And I think to an extent you can say the league is a collective, while they're happy to take the money that is coming in because of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon, and to an extent now Sophie Cunningham and the eyes that they're bringing, they don't support them either. And look, it's hard not to, at least, I think, a common sense thinking person to see this and say there's not some racial component to it. I think that's hard. I think you'd have to stretch to say there's not some level of racial component to it. And so now you have a league because of political correctness, because of wokeness, because of political activism. I mean, the WNBA is a political organization masquerading as a sports league. They are now teetering. They have several key issues in front of them that they have created that could bring about, and we talked about this yesterday. One of the major issues with the WNBA is that the WNBA does not want to succeed in many ways because they've never had to succeed. They've never been forced to make that league work financially. They've always had the backing, primarily of other NBA owners, that no matter how much money they lost, you'll be okay. And we talked about how in any facet of your life, if you are given something without having to earn it, you're never going to work as hard as somebody who has to earn it. It's human nature. It's human nature. You know, you think about if you compare work ethics in sports, there are some guys who are just gifted beyond words. And this is true in all sports. They can walk right out and be the best or be among the best. No effort necessary. And then there are some guys who have to work their asses off every single day just to stay in the league. And I think when you hear a lot of these people talk after their careers or even, during their careers, there's a different level of appreciation for it. The different level of appreciation. And so the WNBA is at a crisis point because they're on the verge of losing the massive amount of eyeballs that they were able to attract over the last couple of years because of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. And one of the problems with being a political organization masquerading as a sports league is the politics comes before the sport, even if it's your own team. And that brings us to Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, who a couple games ago now, Sophie Cunningham, who along with Caitlin Clark is sort of becoming the national face of the WNBA for different reasons, was the victim of a hatchet job. I don't even know what the best description was. I mean, if that had happened off a basketball court, it'd have been assault. It wasn't a foul. It was assault. And Stephanie White, the head coach of the Fever, I don't think I'm going out on any limbs here to say uber liberal leftist woman. Jason can dispute it later during the YouTube chat if I'm wrong, because he watches all the Fever games. They did win last night. Came out in what appeared to be in defense of the player who committed the foul against Sophie Cunningham. You never see that in sports. Even when your guy or girl in this case is in the wrong, you defend the team, you defend the shield. What's the saying? For the shoe, baby. You never see the coach of an opposing team defend a player who did a dirty hatchet job on their guy or girl. And yet, because it's a political organization masquerading as a sports league, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Fever, came out in defense of another player who committed a serious offense against her own player. And people were outraged to the point she got booed last night. People are pissed. Because even if you're don't agree with Sophie Cunningham's political views, which I don't even think what she said. This is the crazy thing. What she said wasn't even political. It was just basically saying men play men's sports, women play women's sports. What a novel concept. And of course, now in 2026, that's puts you at the center of a hyper-political environment. But whether you agree with that or not, that's your team. She's a key player on your team. You go to bat for your team. Politics irrelevant. And there's been a lot of blowback. So Stephanie White does this presser yesterday before the game in which she's addressing the foul on Sophie Cunningham and her refusal to go to bat for her player. But then also, as you hear this, I mean, she starts coming unglued. And as you hear this, there's more at play than just Sophie Cunningham. She starts referencing some stuff that's about the trans and the men and the women's sports. And you hear this in her voice, and you hear this in the words she's using. This league is coming unglued. Take a listen.
The reality is, with me, I will always lead with love. I will always lead with grace. I will always lead with humility. And I will always lead with integrity. Doesn't mean I'll always get it right. I'm also human. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided. Every day these women put their on the line. Every day. When they go low, we go high. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
I lead with love. Love will win. You go to hell. I mean, you know, two couple of phrases there that just go right together, right? The divisiveness is because of you guys, Stephanie White. The divisiveness is because of a league that will not address very serious, obvious issues, both in terms of the treatment of select players and the political stances that this league has taken, in which they have the choice they've made to put politics above common sense. That's why there's divisiveness. The league is more invested in their political activism than making the league work. And the reason they're doing it, and they'll continue to do it as long as there's a handout to keep them afloat, whether they succeed or not. All right. Audio staying local here. So Greg Ballard came out yesterday, and he took a very veiled shot at the Indiana Recount Commission, throwing out all those votes for Spencer Deary and handing the election to Paula Copenhaver. This video is actually pretty well done, because you have to wait for it at the end before he gets to the veiled shot. It's Ballard. He's standing in his kitchen. He's talking about voting. He actually does a really good job with this. And by the way, Bo Bai is on the airwaves now. He launched his first ad yesterday. And something very weird happened. And I've got some friends that monitor these things. I don't know anything about them. I know a lot of people do them. The prediction market. Betting on politics is illegal in our country, but you can participate in the prediction market, which is basically betting on politics. Max Engling is cratering in the prediction market, which is interesting. Bai is now leading in the prediction market to be the next Secretary of State. There was a huge drop for Engling yesterday and into this morning. Now, this, of course, is not an end-all, be-all, and it's just something people do. But money is clearly coming in on Bai. So Bai is on the airwaves with an actual ad buy. But look, Ballard's not going to be able to do that for a long time because they blew through all that money to get on the ballot. Now, I'm not saying blow through as a negative. He had to do it. But it's going to be a while probably before he can get back on the airwaves because of all the money he had to spend to get on the ballot, even though he is the big fundraiser of this cycle. So he's trying to get this earned media on places like this, which good job. But he's, he's standing in his kitchen and he's talking about voting. And he does a good job here. You got to the average person doesn't pay attention to these things. I do. In the ad, it is an ad, basically. It's an announcement or a speech, but it's an ad. They weave in, he was in the military. He served in the Persian Gulf, like all this stuff. And I'm watching this going, it's pretty good what they're doing here. I see it. I know how I'm trying to be manipulated here by you guys. I get it. And then he talks about his daughter voting for the first time. And, it's really raining out there, isn't it? If we lose power, we loved all you people very much. But anyway, Ballard is, he's taken a direct shot at the recount commission, taking away those votes that people cast. They did their part in voting, and they were taken away because of government incompetence. Now, you got to make it to the end of this ad, but it's pretty creative the way they get to it and the way he basically milked a campaign out of some sort of just basic announcement. It's pretty well done. Take a listen.
I'll never forget what happened the first time I took my daughter to go vote. I had recently retired from the Marines after more than 20 years. Serving in the military was an incredible experience, but it's tough on families. My wife, Winnie, often had to raise our son and daughter on her own while I was deployed around the world, including Desert Storm. As our kids approached high school, we decided to move back to my hometown of Indianapolis so they could have a more stable experience. A few years later, I took my daughter to vote for the first time. There was a line wrapped around the building, and after waiting for over an hour, she turned to me and asked if we could leave. I told her, I didn't spend 23 years in the Marines for you not to vote. That's how strongly I feel about our elections. I'd bet every veteran who served in combat, like I have, feels the same way. For 250 years, brave Americans have fought and died so you and I have the right to choose our leaders at the polls. That right is sacred, and it shouldn't be subject to partisan politics. That's why I'm running for Indiana Secretary of State, which oversees those elections, and I'm doing it as an independent.
Okay, just a reminder, we're in the AES power system. I think the power went out here yesterday. So if we lose you, we loved you guys. We'll get back on as fast as we can. What happened with Spencer Deary is a disgrace. And you should view it that way, whether you like Spencer Deary or you're for redistricting or against redistricting. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's not an endorsement of Spencer Deary. It's about people having their votes taken away who voted. And unless the appeals court, which hopefully they will, steps in and revalidates these votes, two individuals took away people's right to vote on the recount commission. That's what they did. Government incompetence is what's at play here. The people wanted to vote. The people voted. And because the government didn't process the form properly, your vote doesn't count. That's the lasting legacy of Diego Morales. Runs all these ads telling you to vote. Runs all these taxpayer-funded ads telling you to vote. Okay, I vote. Nope, doesn't count. And Greg Ballard does a pretty good job on the down low, right? Pointing out you've got to get the partisanship out of the election boards. You got to get the partisanship out of the recount commissions. You got to get the partisanship out of the Secretary of State's office. I thought he did a pretty good job with this. I wonder how many other people are going to catch on to that. Like I said, Buy is up running ads now as well. And maybe we'll talk about those a little bit tomorrow. All right. So Hassan Piker. Now, we've told you who this guy is. He's a communist. And he is the new cause du jour for the left on social media. He's the influencer. Hassan Piker is the guy's name. He is a straight-up communist. And he posted a video of himself watching AOC's appearance on ABC over the weekend with Jonathan Karl. We played you some of that clip the other day and said the left is in a big precarious position now because They want the big left stuff, which we're going to get into with Jesse Brown later about the borders, no prison, like the prisons. What does all that actually look like? But they know nationally that ain't going to play. But they support this stuff. AOC supports this stuff. And remember, she got asked about the Hong lady, Francesca Hong, who lost last night. Holy smokes. Did you guys see this? So there was this complete maniac named Francesca Hong, state rep in Wisconsin, running for governor in the primary. And every poll had her up double digits. Every single one. She was running against, more an establishment-y type of Democrat. And when we say establishment, we got to clarify now. Still a left person, still a liberal, but liberals are now morphing more and more towards moderate in the Democrat Party. Not that they're moving and becoming moderate, but because the left is so crazy now. The liberals are now like the moderates. Not enough to be liberal anymore. Bernie Sanders, we played you that clip, was it last week? Of Bernie Sanders saying it's not enough to be liberal anymore. I'm not interested in endorsing liberals. You got to be a socialist. And here's the standards for that. So this Francesca Hong chick who was against Thanksgiving, all out on defund the police, all of these things. She was up double digits in every single poll. And she lost. Now, it's super close, but she lost. They've declared it for the other guy. It's unbelievable. Frank Luntz, the super pollster, I saw on Twitter this morning, was like, we have to stop all primary polling until we figure out how we got this so wrong. Because there's been multiple polls now that the pollsters have gotten wrong in the primaries. Like the El Said guy who won in Michigan. Now, they had him winning, but he was up double digits. He won by, 1 point. And Luntz is right. Primaries are so hard to poll because you don't know who's going to show up to vote. But anyway, AOC's on with Jonathan Karl. He's asking her about this Francesca Hong, who she won't endorse. And then, she gives this bizarre explanation about all the lunatic stuff the left was for in 2020 and 2021 and how, that was woke one. That was kind of weird, right? Like she won't own any of it when she was on board with all of it. And Hassan Piker's watching this. And straight up says, he insinuates, she can't defend what she is because she won't get elected if she does, which is a communist. And then he goes on to defend communism. This is a fascinating clip. Take a listen.
Look, there's no defending communism in the mainstream, and this is the democratic socialist opinion broadly. So she's channeling the DSA line here, not just the old DSA line, but just even the current DSA line overall, regardless of the fact that there are many communists within the democratic socialists of America. How would you answer this position? Well, I'm not an elected representative with ambitions of higher office. I have answered this question many times over. What do you say to people who call you a communist? I say, I don't call myself a communist, but I would never oppose that framing. I don't think the understanding of communism in America is correct. Communism is an end goal of a classless, moneyless, stateless society. It's an evolution from our current understanding of the world. Do you feel like that's a bad way to live? Do you feel like that's a bad mode of existence? I certainly don't think so. How we'll get there or how we'll achieve it, I do not know. But I don't think that's a bad end state. I don't think that's a bad evolution.
That's what they want. A classless, faceless society. He said it right there. That's the goal. And one of the issues they have, we're going to get into Jesse Brown. You guys, we taped it yesterday, obviously. And I told Jason when we got done, I said, the chat's going to go berserk. Because we asked Jesse Brown, okay, prisons, okay, borders. How does this actually work? And yeah, we got done. I said, the chat is going to go nutso when we start having this conversation. And look, I've said this before. I get along fine with Jesse Brown personally because Jesse Brown's honest. There's all sorts of people that I can be friends with that I don't agree with politically. And I think Brown is nuts. But I can get along with you. Friends may be a strong word. That I get along with if you're going to be honest with me. And I'm going to be honest back with you. And then we can have productive conversations. The people I don't like are the disingenuous ones, the liars, the people who obviously aren't telling me the truth. You know, like Max Engling, still trying to pretend like he didn't know the status of that dark money group who gave him 60 grand and still trying to pin up like, well, we weren't even sure whether we could take the donation. Well, there's a case that could be made that we could have kept that money. Oh, bull. Oh, bull. You are either so uninformed about Indiana elections that you shouldn't be within 93 miles of the Secretary of State's office, or you're a liar. Because you were the special guest at their event at the Republican convention 11 days before you took that illegal donation. And according to David Shelton, the complainant, you were a year ago promoting this same group and their 501c4 status. So bull. Liar, or you're the most uninformed person ever as it relates to Indiana election law, and which means you shouldn't be within 93 miles of the Secretary of State's office. That's a person I can't deal with. That's a person I can't deal with. And I love the fact that the Republicans justify it now with Engling, where they go, well, he's been asked the question and he answered it. I got into this with a member of the media last night. Well, I asked him the question, the person said. And my response was, yeah. And people asked Gacy about the bodies in his basement, and he said he didn't know how they got there. You believe that? Like, it's that stupid. The Engling claiming, the BS Engling is doing on the illegal $60,000 donation is every bit as ridiculous as Gacy trying to claim he didn't know how 30-plus bodies got in his crawl space. Just because someone answers a question... I mean, some guy last night, member of the media, well, like, I asked him the question. I know you asked him the question. He lied. Asking the question doesn't make you a good member of the press or the media. You don't get any bonus points for answering a question and then letting some guy lie to you. None. That's the standard now. Did you? There was a member of the media last night who made a post about Bo Bai. This is what, okay, the frame of reference here. Because it doesn't matter what I say anymore. It dawned on me last night. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not around any of these people anymore. Say whatever I want. I'm not going to call it anybody's office. So there was a member of the media, a prominent person, who made a post last night comparing Bo Bai to Pinocchio. And there's a Geppetto there, and it's Pinocchio, but it's Bo Bai, and they got all of these stickers on Bai. Like the things that make him, that basically say Bai's not a real person. Bai's a plastic person. And I'm looking at these stickers that are on Bai, and it's like dark money, lobbyists. And I wasn't going to say anything, and I realized I say whatever I want now. And so I pointed out to this person, dark money. Max Engling is in hot water for taking an illegal $60,000 donation from a dark money group. The second biggest donation to Max Engling is Kevin McCarthy. Y'all go look up what Kevin McCarthy does now. I'm looking at this going, the guy you're describing in this post, the Pinocchio, is Max Engling. And then the guy was like, well, we asked him about it, or I asked him about the illegal donation. I know you asked him about it. He lied. You don't get it. This is the problem with not having broadcasters in broadcaster position. This is the problem with having cheerleaders in a position of prominence in the media. Republican cheerleaders rather than pros that know how to do the job. Asking the question is meaningless if you let somebody lie out their ass. And we see this more and more on our side of the aisle. And we've talked about this at length. Where prominent broadcasters on the Republican, conservative, whatever you want to say, side, are more interested in being teammates with these people rather than holding them accountable. They want to be buddies with these people. And it's all over the place. It's not one individual. It's all over the place. Where they just become mouthpieces rather than doing our job, which is to be accountability factories. And so you come back to, with AOC, the media is invested in protecting her. Jonathan Karl in that interview, remember, she's stuck on the Hong chick. She's stuck, right? Because the stuff Hong said was so extreme, and then Karl saves her in the interview. Remember, we talked about this. We played the clip for you where she's stuck, and then he gives her the words she's looking for. She's like, yeah. She's like disavowed. She did, or stepped away, or whatever the phrase was. She's like, thank God this guy saved me. Rather than Karl continuing to press her, which he should have done. It's on both sides of the aisle. Cheerleaders rather than accountability. Our job as the media is to hold these people accountable, not be team sport. It's why there's fewer and fewer people that consume traditional media. They see both sides as cheerleaders. They don't see anybody being on their side, which is to hold all of them accountable. All right, we got 2 more audios to get to, but go ahead and take a break. Is that all right? All right, before we do that, though, got to tell you about our guy, Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. He doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's trained with some of the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert selling strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. All right, we got more audio to get to. We got Jesse Brown coming up. We got a whole bunch of stuff on the gas tax. We got a ton of stuff to get to today. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you'd get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young. Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Hey, we did want to reach out to our friends up in the region. Of course, we're on WJOB now. Hour one of the Rob Kendall Show airs at most mornings at 10 Central, 11 Eastern. They had some serious weather yesterday. Their internet was down. I don't even know if we're going to be on there today. Phone lines were down, all sorts of stuff. A lot of severe weather up there in the region. So we wanted to remind everybody, keep your the people up there in Northwest Indiana, your thoughts and prayers. They had a lot of damage. Some really, really, really crazy photos that came out of that. And so we did want to just let those people know we were thinking about them, and hopefully everything gets back on track for them pretty soon. All right, we want to keep rolling with the audio here, and then we'll get into some more local stuff. Jesse Brown's going to join us at 10 o'clock. Now, we got severe weather coming in here, so who knows? We might lose power here. You never know with AES. Spin the chamber for us. All right, Senator John Kennedy. He's a senator from Louisiana. Very media-friendly guy, very quotable guy, always creative, always fun to hear from. So he did a good job yesterday articulating the obvious. And that is that the people over the Democrat Party want to kick the crap out of America, and the establishment Democrats are too afraid to stop these people. Here is Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Take a listen.
The people now in charge of the Democratic Party want to beat the crap out of America. It's that simple. Get rid of all the millionaires. I don't mean that literally, but tax them into oblivion. Open the borders, open the prisons, defund the police, defund the ICE. Every single one of them knows the words by heart to the Cuban national anthem. Socialism is just the equal sharing of misery. Now, there are a lot of Democrats, some have the courage to speak up, but there are a lot of Democrats that don't believe it. But there are a lot of Democrats who don't believe it, are scared to say anything.
He's right. I mean, you read those election results last night, and the big one was the Hong lady lost, but there's a whole bunch more of these radical left people who won the Minnesota Senate primary. The lieutenant governor there is a maniac leftist and won. And so they're starting to win more and more frequently in the Democrat Party. And it is because the establishment Democrats are too afraid to speak up. Their party is being hijacked. Their party is being taken over, and they are too afraid to speak up. This is true in any facet of your existence, guys. You've got to be willing to endure some pain to stand up for what's right, because if you ignore it, it's just going to get worse. You know, our whole brand, for lack of a better term, is we call everybody out. And sometimes you pay a big price for that. But in the end, we create a format here that you guys love and thousands of people tune into every day. That is what we want to do. In politics, if somebody's trying to take over your party, you got to cut it off at the pass immediately. There's no appeasing those people. And the Democrats are finding that out the hard way. And I've said within 5 years, the socialists are going to run the Democrat Party completely, like the infrastructure, everything. Not just win elections. They're going to be in charge. And look, I think within 10 years, they'll be running the country. All right, one other piece of audio. So this guy's name is Jake Auchincloss. And he is a Democrat representative from Massachusetts. And I want to play this for you guys because y'all could take a victory lap on this one. This is a Democrat U.S. rep from Massachusetts admitting on CNN that all the nutbags that demanded the schools close and stay closed during COVID were wrong. We were right. Remember from the beginning, when you start looking at that dashboard and you start seeing what's going on, COVID was almost no impact on kids. If they got it, healthy quick. And yet we were told, even in this state, right, you can't just blame Democrats because we're a Republican state and we did all the school shutdowns here as well. All of these government people with their power pants on tried to convince you that they knew best. But I'm looking at this data and it clear. No, we know best. We're trusting the science. What science is that? Fauci? We were put in a corner. We were called things like a human petri dish in this state. for simply saying we can read data, we are smart people, we're looking at what's going on, here's what COVID is. And if you're an able-bodied adult or you're a kid, you can go to school and you go work. There's some people that need to sit this thing out, and that's okay. But if, 10% of the populace got to sit it out, that's fine. 90% of us can keep working until this thing runs its course. The kids can go to school. The damage that these government people, these government bureaucrats, these elected officials did to kids during COVID is irreparable. And here's a Democrat, Jake Auchincloss, admitting just that, and we were right. Take a listen.
So my day one issue when I took office was reopening the schools. The schools had stayed closed for too long during COVID, contrary to both epidemiological guidance and what we knew was best for our kids' socio-emotional and academic development. And to me, that school closure episode really was a crystallization of where the Democratic Party went off the rails. Number one, it was too focused on process, not on outcomes. And number two is it adopted this condescending attitude towards parents who were very rightfully frustrated watching their kids miss out on milestones of their youth. And when I think about, that whole era, woke one, the school closures, yes, Democrats need to account for that. But more importantly than accounting for it, whether it's the school closures or defund the police, it's have a better, proactive, positive agenda moving forward.
See, this is what the Democrats are trying to do now is act like, yeah, okay, all that stuff happened, but, it's some crazy people that were kind of in charge, right? Some crazy people just got a little out of control. No, it was our whole system of governance. And again, it's easy enough to look at the Democrats and say, hey, you guys were totally out of control. Nutbags, don't let them anywhere near power. But in Indiana, we did all the things too, and that's Republicans. My career is made on hating all these people equally. I was in the club and like getting out of some sort of cult. I broke free because I saw what they were, and I saw these things happen in real time when I used to go to all the things and saying, these people are just as bad as the other side. The way they operate, the way they behave, their actual disdain for you. And I said, man, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to use what I've seen someday to try to educate the public. And look at COVID. There is no difference between what we did here in the blue states for the most part. Shutdowns, lockdowns, business closures, mask mandates, closure of schools, all the stuff. And we're supposedly Republicans. It's a societal thing that we allowed power-hungry individuals to do nonsense. You say, Rob, why have you freaked out on Braun with the gas tax suspension? Because it's illegal. He can't do it, or he shouldn't be able to do it. He's doing it because nobody's pushing back. And even though I want the gas tax suspended, we're going to talk a lot about the gas tax here in a minute, it's all being done the wrong way, and it's all being done in the same manner that COVID was done. It's happening again, and it'll happen again on something that I don't like, so I have an obligation to speak out against it. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in your basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay, they don't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right. Interesting article from the Indy Star yesterday. And they reached out to a legal expert to examine if the Indiana Recount Commission went too far in throwing out ballots for Spencer Deary because of errors made by government workers. That's the key in all this. And you're like, Rob, you are hitting this thing hard. I am. Because what happened should scare the hell out of everyone. Because when you eliminate like all of the names and the politics and the Trump and the redistricting out of it, here's what happened. Somebody voted. We have one of the lowest, if not the lowest, voter participation rates in the country in Indiana. It's disgustingly low. And our Secretary of State spends who knows how many taxpayer dollars begging people to register to vote, begging people to participate. Please go vote, blah, blah, blah. And in the case of what happened on Tuesday with the recount commission, people voted. They put the effort in. They followed the standard set for them. And in multiple instances, they are now told they don't get to vote because the government didn't do its job. Think about that. The most fundamental right that you have as an American citizen is the right to vote. The right to say, I get to have some sort of influence, no matter how small, or in this case, big, over who makes decisions for me. And now what the recount commission said as of Tuesday, unless a court overturns it, which hopefully common sense will prevail here, but you never know, is that your right to vote is not guaranteed. It is dependent upon the competency of the person who accepts your ballot. There's no doubt in some of these cases the ballot was received. There's no doubt. There's no doubt the ballot was filled out in many of these cases filled out for Spencer Deary. But what the election commission said, Diego, and a guy who's super connected to Jim Banks and Todd Rokita, who are mega supporters of Paula Copenhaver, is that if the government doesn't do their job, then your vote doesn't count. In all cases, we should err on the side of the voter. If there is a dispute, unless you can prove brazen misconduct or fraud or whatever word you want to say by the voter, brazenly illegal or obviously illegal participation by the voter, actions by the voter, if there is any doubt, you have to err on the side of the voter. And we did the exact opposite in this state on Tuesday. So the Star reached out to a guy by the name of Luis Fuentes Rower, R-O-H-W-E-R. He's an associate dean for research and faculty affairs at Indiana University's Maurer School of Law. And they said, what do you think about this from a legal standpoint? Take the politics out of it. Legally, what the recount commission did. And here's what he said. The bar for these accusations should be really high because once elections stop mattering, we have nothing. That's a great quote. What the recount commission was doing or did on Tuesday is decentivize participation. Because what they said was, your vote isn't guaranteed unless the government can process it properly. He said, we will at that point have a banana republic. And he's right. We now have the government deciding whose vote counts and who doesn't based on government competency. Or, look, I'm not saying anybody did anything nefarious. That's why I try to say competency. But what if in the future some clerk is like, I don't like that person. I'm not going to stamp the signature on their ballot. If this is the standard going forward, what is to stop people acting in a nefarious way in the future? If the lack of a signature from a clerk is a reason a ballot gets thrown out, and let's just say it probably was, some sort of oversight or miscue, no nefarious doings on these ballots. But what's to stop a clerk in the future from doing it in a nefarious manner if the standard is, well, unless the signature's on there from the clerk, it doesn't count? He also points out that this comes off as complete BS to the average person. Because remember what you have at play here. Deary goes against Trump. That's why he got a challenger. Spencer Deary voted against redistricting. And you can say that was right, you can say that was wrong, and you can campaign on it, and certainly people did. A Jim Banks affiliated group, according to the Capitol Chronicle, spent $1 million. Now, I think that same group, someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, is the group that gave the $60,000 donation to England. Somebody, if I have those two groups confused, somebody by all means correct me and I'll correct the record. But I think that's who it was. And so you have Deary going against Trump. You have Banks and Rokita, who at this time were super aligned with Diego. Remember, they endorsed Diego before they unendorsed him, like John Kerry was for the war in Iraq before he was against it. But remember, they were super affiliated and behind Diego until they were unaffiliated and unbehind Diego. Scandals plural is what Todd Rokita said did it in for him. And then you have the other guy on this recount commission who is super affiliated with Banks and Rokita. And it is Diego Morales and this guy who said that these votes don't count that went for Spencer Deary. The average person looks at that and says, well, it kind of seems like a giant red flag. Kind of seems like that's a coincidence that Deary rather Banks and Rokita were for Copenhagen big time. Big money with groups affiliated with Banks going for Copenhagen. Deary's votes against Trump's desired wishes. And then conveniently, two people who have been affiliated with Banks and Rokita then make the call to go against, to throw these votes out that flip the election away from Deary. The average person looks at that and goes, that doesn't smell great. Fuentes Rower goes on to say, here's a state senator who bucked his national party and is given a primary, barely wins, but by the luck of all the luck, enough votes are removed. And in the commission's work, we're supposed to just sit here and say, well, I guess the law and democracy won. If that doesn't make you despondent, or if that doesn't upset you, then I don't know what to say. Right. The average person looks at this and it reinforces my vote doesn't matter. The average person looks at this and says, there's no guarantee my vote's going to count if it's dependent upon government competency. And remember, these people who are supposed to be in charge of the government competency were trained by, or supposed to be trained by, Diego Morales, who threw out the votes because of a lack of government competency. The average person looks at this and says, if the fix is in, why would I ever even participate? Or the appearance of the fix is in, why would I even participate? Because people are looking for a reason to do just that, which is not participate. Hey guys, let me tell you about our friends, Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage. Whether you're buying your first rental property or growing an investment portfolio, financing matters. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps investors explore loan options designed for rental properties and long-term wealth building. As a local mortgage advisor, Gary works one-on-one with investors to help them understand their financial options and create a strategy that fits their goals. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. All right. Before we get to our top of the hour break, and Jesse Brown is going to join us next segment. For those of you who are checking us out on WJOB up in the region, welcome. Glad to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our full program live on YouTube. Just put Rob Kendall Show into your YouTube search bar. And then you can check us out live on YouTube, on demand on YouTube, and then on demand on any of our podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all of the places. You can download the show right to your feed. And you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show 3 ways. We call it like, share, and subscribe. Number 1, give us that thumbs up. Really helps us. Like this show, whether you're watching us live on YouTube, on demand on YouTube. Give us that thumbs up. Really helps us grow the program. If you're Apple, iHeart, Spotify, all those places, that 5-star review also gold. Little thing goes a long way helping us grow the program. Share the feed out. If you got a YouTube, or if you're watching us on YouTube right now, or you're watching us on demand on YouTube, or any of the on-demand platforms, if you got a Facebook or a Twitter, share the feed out. Hey, I got this show, Rob Kendall. It's dedicated to Indiana news, politics, and government. Bam, right there. That is a great way to get us in front of people who have never heard about us before. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to whatever feeds you're watching or listening to us on. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Don't forget, we've got a website as well. The website, robkendallshow.com. Live link there. All the on-demand platforms there where you can get us, the show right into your feed. The links are right there. Articles each day from some of our favorite segments we've done here on the Rob Kendall Show. And last but certainly not least, the support button. If you like us, if you like what we do, if you want to contribute to the Rob Kendall Show, hit that support button. $1, $10, whatever it might be, no amount. Unwanted, no amount too small. And great deal right now, our buddy John McKinney from Black Sheep Plumbing. The entire month of August, when you hit the support button at robkendallshow.com, I send you an email, say thanks for supporting our show. If you need plumbing service in the month of August, John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing, he's going to double whatever you contributed up to $100 in plumbing credit. So think about this. You hit the support button, robkendallshow.com, $50. You need plumbing work, new toilet, sink repair, new water heater, water softener, whatever it might be. You call John at Black Sheep Plumbing and you say, hey, I need whatever it might be. And by the way, I supported the Rob Kendall Show this month. Here's my email, $50. You're going to get a $100 credit. You actually end up coming out ahead for supporting the Rob Kendall Show if you need plumbing work done and you use Black Sheep Plumbing. So what a deal. robkendallshow.com. That is where all of the stuff actually is. All right. So coming up here in just a moment, we're going to take you to the interview we did with Jesse Brown. It's a fascinating conversation. We talked about a bunch of things. We talked to him about his vote for the wheel tax in Marion County. We talked about the data center ban for the city of Indianapolis and how other communities should probably take the lead on that. And then we get into the really interesting part of the conversation. We start talking about socialism. Do the socialists actually want the stuff that Megan Romer, Democrat Socialists of America vice chair, described? Do they really want to abolish prisons? If so, how do you do that? What do you do with the violent offenders? Do you really want to open the borders? Do you really want no border security whatsoever? If so, what do you do with the billion people if that's how many people come? It's a fascinating conversation, and it's really one that we talk about accountability earlier in our field in the media. It's one we need to start having with the socialist people. It's not enough to say you want something. Walk me through how that actually looks. Explain to me how it actually works. Because I've long said, once you start making people kind of have that conversation on the left, it falls apart once you got to like nuts and bolts it. Okay, it's one thing to say you want something. How does it actually work? And we like Jesse Brown because he comes in and he has conversations and he doesn't care. And that's what we should want from our politicians. I mean, we obviously want good public policy, but we also should want transparency. And you guys are going to get a whole bunch of transparency when we come back. Democrat, socialist, Jesse Brown, member of the Indianapolis City County Council, is going to join me next for a fascinating conversation. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show, and look who it is. Our old pal, member of the Indianapolis City County Council, avowed Democrat socialist, the great Jesse Brown.
Well, thank you.
Great in somebody's mind. Maybe your wife. I don't know. How are you, my friend?
Doing all right. How are you, Rob?
Well, here's the thing I say about you, and I've said this to your face, and I say it publicly. I think you're crazy, but I like you because you're honest. And we don't got much honesty left in the government, and you are honest.
Thank you so much. I've had so many constituents say pretty much the same thing. They're like, I would disagree with you on like 5 out of 6 things, but I believe that you'd sit down with me, look me in the eye, and explain why you believe this. And it's not because you're getting bought off. It's not because you're getting paid. Maybe you're crazy, but you sincerely believe this stuff and you're willing to talk about it. So.
I told somebody this the other day. I said, if all the guys on the city county council, I would let Brown watch my kid first. Now, not for a prolonged period of time, because you would indoctrinate.
Right, of course.
But if I needed an emergency, I would call you.
We'd get out the Illustrated Kids Guide to Marxist Capital, and Well, thank you, though.
All right, let's start with it'll be 2 nights ago now when this airs at the city county council, the wheel tax.
Yeah.
You guys voted to raise the taxes.
Right.
Hogsett said he didn't need to raise the taxes. He could find the money. Did you disagree with that?
I did disagree.
You think he was fibbing?
Well, so, I think that he would be fine with how the city would look if he cut additionally in order to find that $50 million. But first off, he didn't do it right away. He couldn't do it without money that we expect to get in the future. And, as somebody who I know embraces fiscal conservatism,
that's right.
I know spending money you haven't yet earned is a really bad idea. That's called putting stuff on the credit card, which gets you into trouble. We've just seen, 2020 happened when the economy just fell off a cliff. We've got this big data center bubble right now. Who knows if our president might just start a war in Iran that lasts 6 months that screws up our economy, right? We don't know strongly enough what the future is going to look like to just bank on that and bet our city's future on it.
So Michael Paul Hart, your buddy.
Right. Good pal.
We'll talk about him in a second. There's a great photo. I think you posted it of him voting for the data center deal, which we'll get to in a second last night, and you laughing at him over his shoulder. So we'll get to that in a second. But he came out with the plan where he basically said, look, it doesn't have to be $50 million in cuts. It's a certain amount of cuts, a certain amount of growth. It's a measured plan. We feel it's reasonable. You didn't feel that was reasonable.
That's right. And I'll start by giving Michael Paul Hart some credit here, because now that Josh Bain just got promoted up to the IURC.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, he already resigned from the council, so I don't know what would happen to him.
Oh, yeah, you can't go back.
Yeah.
It's like Field of Dreams once you cross the line.
Exactly. So that would really suck for Josh. I hope that doesn't happen to him, because I saw Isaiah's lawsuit. But of the remaining Republicans on the council, only Hart has called for Mayor Hogsett to resign.
That's right.
Because here's my issue. Under an administration that actually opens the books and shows line items and shows how much is going to contractors and how much efficiency we're getting from those contractors, then I think we absolutely could find that money for cuts. I think you could look at Character 3, which is contractor money going into DPW. Dan Parker now works at American Structure Point. People have told me he's expected to clear close to $1 million a year with all the bonuses included, because they're doing half the work that city employees should be doing at a premium that then goes into their pockets, that then goes back to Hogsett's pool.
So your issue was, and look, I get this, that Hogsett said, I'll find the money, but he had all this time to find it, and he he didn't present it to you guys of saying, hey, here's the $50 million we're going to cut, or however we're going to do it.
Right. It's smoke and mirrors. Another thing he presented last night, I haven't had time to dig into it, so I will come back on the show and eat my words if it turns out that this was honest and not just an accounting flim-flam show. But he claimed that parks maintenance budget went up, I think he said like 20%. I was like, really? And I was looking at it, but the parks budget didn't change much year over year. So something that, again, I'll give Michael Paul Hart credit for, Republicans and Democrats have been fighting the administration on for years, is that the Parks Department was forced to pay DPW workers to do the parks maintenance. They were doing a terrible job, and, they weren't accountable to the parks management, so nobody could hold them accountable.
Hogsett seems very lazy in his approach to governance, which brings me to my next question to you. You guys vote for the tax increase.
Right.
Do you have any faith that Hogsett is going to administer $100 million of road repairs and make them better? I would have voted no just based on that, because the guy in charge I don't have any confidence in.
That honestly was the biggest struggle I had. I had constituents who said, how can you support giving more money to this person that you call a drunk crook? And I'm like, well, that is a very fair question, and I think it's reasonable. The thing is, this was a Statehouse 5-year plan, right? We have to escalate this money all the way up to $100 million. And so help me God, Joe Hogsett will not be mayor for longer than one more year. So
but do you think he's running?
I think he thinks that he's running. I think so. I think that him getting screamed at and booed last night, him kind of shaking and crying. Yeah, I'm hoping he's thinking twice about that right now.
But what else is he going to do?
I mean, he's in his upper 60s. Shouldn't somebody find him a fishing pole in a lake somewhere? He should just be able to gently coast out into the sunset and, look back at a life well spent, we'll call it.
I have zero confidence that he's going to make your roads any better.
Yeah, I mean,
none.
So a constituent wrote me an email and said, do you really think it would make a difference if we had even $1 billion or $1 trillion more for roads? And I said, yes, dude, obviously. Like with $1 trillion, you could build 220,000 houses, and give them away. Yes, he will be corrupt. Yes, he will skim off the top. Yes, he will give to contractors. But $100 million is still a lot of money. Some of that's going to go to the roads. We have seen improvements when we tripled the strip patching program this year compared to last year. So I do think it'll make a difference. I think once we switch mayors, then we'll see how much money was being wasted.
You think like Osley or Hundley or any of those people are going to do a better job?
I think Hundley would. I'm a Hundley fan.
I know you are.
Osley, I think that you could look at what his plan was. If you look at when the mayor first vetoed Proposal 192, Osley said, well, what I would do with it is I would take out bonds against that future tax money after the wheel tax.
Briggsy and I had this conversation.
And then we would just spread it around to all the contractors in the city and just have every single road in the city under construction all at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's what was Briggs' point, because there's not enough construction workers to do this. Right?
Exactly. Well, but, that would make a lot of contractors very happy, which would in turn make a lot of donations into Osley's account.
Well, yes, they would be very. But Jesse Brown from the City County Council is our guest. The second thing you guys, one other thing I want to get to, the cheering.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. You are hurting people financially, whether you believe it's necessary or not. The cheering was an awful look from the City County Council.
I don't know if there's going to be, I think on Channel 16, they might have another shot that I hope they release, because what wasn't clear from what I've seen in the recording was that the crowd was cheering way, way louder than the counselors were. So you can compare that to when there was that special resolution against political violence. And, I clipped it because I made fun of it.
About their taxes going up?
They're excited for a couple reasons, or at least I can only speak for myself, right? Here's why I clap.
That seems insane to me.
Well, it's the least bad option. I almost threw out some profanity. I can't remember the rules on the show, but
we're back on the radio now in places, so you can't swear again.
All right, so it's the least bad option. I'll be polite and say nobody wanted their taxes to go up. Me first in line for that, right?
Because you're a socialist. You're supposed to care about the little guy. This seems very harmful to the little guy.
Hey, make me dictator of the state, and all working people, all wage income, I think should have lower taxes. I think anybody working should take home more of it, no matter how much you earn. Because really what I have a problem with is when you're holding on to investments out of state and earning profit from that. That's what I think we should go after when I'm talking about tax the rich.
Interesting.
But going back to the wheel tax, here's what I was happy about. The bunch of cowards that are on the council have not stood up to Hogsett once in years and years and years. You can look before I got elected onto the council. I'm not saying it was my fault. The budget's passed unanimously. not even Republicans could vote no with the budget. And let me tell you, it's not because Hogsett made sure all of our wildest dreams were taken care of. He ignored us and threatened us in order to get compliance. So I was cheering because...
What does he have over Republicans, though?
Whether it's true or not, what I've heard from people is your roads won't get plowed, your streets won't have their potholes filled, projects in your area will suddenly find a lot more red tape. They'll basically make things harder for your constituents to put the squeeze on you since you're the one in the neighborhood taking the heat.
All right, let's talk about the other thing that happened last night. It didn't get as much attention, but it was the data center moratorium.
Yeah.
And you've been a leader on this, right? And this is what I said with Brown. You make sense every so often, man. Like you got some
stop clock, right?
That I agree with. And you were the leader on this, and I wholeheartedly agree. And we talked about this on the show.
Yep.
Until the state's going to put the most basic of safeguards and parameters and explanations around these things, every city, every town, every county should be doing what you guys did, which is say no more data center. I can't understand why some of your colleagues went along with it, though, because they don't seem anti-data center like you are. Why did this happen?
Yeah, so I think that they think constituents are stupid, right? There were these 3 deeply unpopular data center proposals, right? There's the Sabia in Decatur Township, Metro blocks in Martindale-Brightwood, and DC blocks in Irvington. All 3 of those got approved, and then all of a sudden you saw Hogsett doing the same thing the council leadership did, which was say, well, now we want a moratorium. So basically, I don't think there's more in the pipeline right now. I think they can pause for a year, which happens to be an election year, which I'm sure is a total coincidence.
Including the mayor, right?
They pause for a year, and meanwhile, they're already getting kickbacks from all these 3 that they've already approved.
Because the 3 data centers are going to go forward. They were very specific about that.
Yeah, people acted as though in Indiana, we've never passed a law that was retroactive, and that's ridiculous. It's a bunch of hooey, to again use a word I can use on the radio.
That's right.
But you can make a case for it's not fair to developers. They've already gone through the process. Sure, whatever. But what we saw last night, an amendment that I think would have passed if I hadn't just dragged them all out in front of the public and made fun of them for it.
This was pretty good. I got to give you some credit on this one. This was from an entertainment perspective.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to pass an amendment that specifically said permits are unaffected for those 3 existing data centers. And I was like, can you explain why? And they're like, well, because we don't want to interfere with those 3 data centers. I was like, well, I do. And I think our constituents all do. And if we can make sure that it's harder to pull a permit, if we can make sure that there are huge delays and problems with these data centers, it's my firm belief this is a bubble. It's going to pop. So delaying a data center is the same as killing it.
Yeah.
You look all over the country and you see all these projects getting canceled. I want that to happen. And so I'm not ashamed to say I will throw every single tool in the toolbox at these data centers to try to stop them.
Jesse Brown, City County Council, is our guest. All right, I've been waiting a couple of years now to have the socialist conversation with you, and I feel like now is a good time.
It's a funny timing, right?
Because your people are taking over it, yet they seem very mad at you. So the local, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, local socialist chapter, right? Democrat Socialist America, like they have a national group and then local.
Yep.
They got mad at you about something and kicked you out. Here's what I don't understand. Y'all are wacky, so it's not like you're an outlier,
right.
And you're the one guy who got elected. What did you do to make the local socialists so mad at you?
I think that, and this is kind of the same answer I had when the Democrats kicked me out of the caucus. It's like, look what they have to say about it. Tell me if it makes any sense. Because to me, it doesn't. And to my constituents, it doesn't. And you could look at their Facebook page and their Instagram, and you could see at about 100 to 1, people are like, what the heck are you guys doing?
Well, I tried to read it because, you seem like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And even though I don't agree with a lot of your views, they were basically accusing you of being a horrendous human being. What did they tell you in these meetings you did? Why would they want to get rid of the one guy who got elected?
Well, you say these meetings. They never once met with me.
Oh, they never did?
Never met with me. Instead, just tried to drag this all out in front of the public.
They didn't have an airing of grievances where you guys got in a room?
Nope. Never once. Not a Zoom call, not a phone call. No one who was involved in this talked with me directly about it. And, if I was, they use words like harassing. They said doxing children. And if indeed I was doing this kind of thing on the regular, sure, withdraw your support. I think that's unacceptable. But then why not just make that case and show what it is that I said or did? Because I think that would be off-putting.
They never did that publicly that I saw.
Interesting, right? Yeah, the doxing of children was literally, I showed a screenshot of somebody's Facebook message, DM. In the upper left corner, there's that tiny little 5 pixels.
Right.
that was this woman with her 18-year-old son standing like this. I've never met her son. I didn't even know it was her kid or a kid.
Did you make some of them mad? Like what? It just seems like you're the one guy who won an election. They'd be like, yeah, let's lift him up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is where you start sounding like a conspiracy theorist to look at like the Occam's razor here. But a couple of the people in charge of that were longtime Democratic Party insiders. And a couple of the people involved in that are open Maoists who call electoral politics the button that does nothing. So I think these people have nothing in
with
common.
Some weird people, Brown.
Well, the thing is, I didn't hang out with them, right? It was 23 people who voted on this. There are 700 dues-paying members of that chapter, but they only got 23 people to vote to get rid of me. They called a special meeting off-cycle, intending to make sure no one could show up.
So what does it mean they got rid of you, though? Like you can't claim to be one now? Like, what does that even mean?
Great question. So none of the people who did this have ever knocked a door for me. None of them were at all vital to my election campaign. So I'm still going to run for office next year, and I'm still going to win. I have no hard feelings to them, but it's...
What are you going to run as, though? Because, like, the Democrats kicked you out of their caucus.
Sure.
Which I thought was great. I mean, for you, right?
Yeah, good PR.
And now the socialists, like, kicked you out of their thing. What do you run as? What do you do?
I am a socialist. I am still a democratic socialist. I'm a Christian socialist. There's, a bunch of different labels you could put on me. But importantly...
See, it's like me. The Republicans hate me, and I still refuse to give up being a Republican.
Exactly right.
I can identify
Exactly
with
right. So, at the end of the day, I am focused on doing what my constituents want me to do. I talk a lot, and I share all of my crazy socialist beliefs so that my constituents can know where I'm coming from and hold me accountable and check on things that they don't want to see.
Okay,
but,
I've always thought so you're running as a Democrat then?
We'll see what label.
Here's what I think you need to do, Brown. Here,
sure.
Just hear me out on
I'll
this.
hear you.
Okay?
Yeah,
All
go
right.
for it.
Let's say Ballard comes through and gets the 10%, right? New Lincoln Party.
Yep.
Ballard has said, we're going to be mercenaries. We're going everywhere. Where Republicans were holding them accountable. Democrats were holding them accountable. I think you need to consider running for mayor of Indianapolis on the Lincoln Party. I think you could be the world's biggest disruptor. What say you?
I mean, if Ballard or Gorsuch or any of those people involved in that reached out, I'd have a conversation. Absolutely.
I love it.
Because, at the end of the day, again, it's about the constituents. It's about good governance. The label is less important. I'm a socialist no matter what label is next to my name on the ballot. I'm fighting for my constituents no matter what. And so the other stuff is just details.
We could potentially have you and Indy Reporter running for mayor in the same year. And that's what the city deserves because it is a total clown show. And you would bring, so you say, a little pepper in the soup. I like that.
Hey, yeah. And, I brought him and Tyler Mitchell copies of my annotated agenda. And I was like, this officially makes you a comrade now. I hope you understand. But they did take it, so don't let them tell you otherwise.
Jesse Brown from the City County Council is our guest. All right. I do want to just real quick talk about socialism because then I know you want to talk about the Daniel Poynter group.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. The Megan Romer chick, who's like the vice chair of the Democrat Socialist. She was on Fox News. She does this interview, and she says a whole bunch of stuff that people are like, what the hell is this?
Sure.
The no borders, the no police, the no prisons, the get rid of the Senate, the get rid of the Supreme Court. Is that you? Are you that guy?
So, yes, and. Yes, there was not a thing you just said that I disagree with.
You get rid of the prisons
in terms of a long-term goal, right? So I don't want to. I don't want to unlock the
people.
I don't want to unlock the jail cells today. Send everybody out and declare the purge. That's not what any real person is looking for, right? But there's a guy in my district who, 13 months ago, broke a bunch of windows downtown in the Cole Noble district. For no apparent reason. Guy mostly speaks Haitian Creole, from what I understand, so there's maybe an interpretation issue. No one really could tell me.
Is he a legal citizen?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But here's what I do know. He broke tons of windows. He got put into jail. Mears pushed hard, and the judges pushed hard. Gave him the maximum possible sentence because it was a misdemeanor. Nobody got hurt, even though a bunch of windows got broken. And people got freaked out. Spent 12 months plus in jail. Got out, immediately started breaking windows. Why did we do that, right? We just paid 12 months of this person's room and board to have him hang out with criminals and come out and do the exact same thing, right? So a prison is not necessarily the best tool to solve this problem.
What are you going to do, reason with that guy? I mean, at least
we got to figure something out.
At least it was 12 months. He wasn't breaking people. I mean, you can't possibly think that people are going to stop murdering people or rapists or violent offenders. Like, you can't possibly think that that's ever going to stop happening in this country.
I don't.
So you would let those people out?
Well, we have a higher incarceration rate than almost any other developed country, and yet we still have all those murders and rapes. So it doesn't seem like it's working, right? So I'm just saying, use the tools that work.
1 million people in our country. We have a crap ton of people in our country.
But I'm saying rate, not just like raw numbers. Like we have a lot of people incarcerated, and I'm glad we don't do what China does, which is just execute a ton of people.
See, this is why I get heat for being your friend. Because
yeah, sure.
This to me is insane that how would you? What is justice then? Don't do it again. You're on house arrest. We're going to keep an eye on you.
No, I mean, I think that, so for example, one thing that the Live Free Coalition is pushing for criminal justice reform in the budget this year for Indianapolis is if you are on probation, you drug test clean, you're refunded the money for that drug test. If you are on probation, you don't have any incidents, you're refunded the money you paid for your ankle monitor. So in other words, if you do the right thing, there are incentives, economic incentives, which, libertarian-minded people should get, that encourage you to do the right thing, and there's consequences if you do the wrong thing. I think that is necessary.
But you're getting rid of the consequences. There's no.
Well, look at downtown Indianapolis. Like, I mean, we've even criminalized homelessness, right? Do you see homeless people still?
About I'm just taking the extreme on this and saying the murders, the rapists, the violent offenders. Like when the DSA people are talking about get rid of prisons, they're not talking about, well, we'll keep those people. Like that Romer chicken, it sounds like you're there too. You want all the prisons to go away.
But again, not today, not this year. You have to have some sort of accountability. And in fact, I think there's too little accountability. Like that was the whole defund the police thing in 2020. I understand that slogan and why people said it. And I don't think anybody meant just like, again, the purge, all hell breaks loose.
Oh, I think they did. I think a bunch of your friends wanted to get rid of that Hong chick in Wisconsin.
I don't think so. I really don't. But there has to be accountability. And when you ask people in poor neighborhoods, do you want less or more public safety in your neighborhood? They say more, right? Whether or not, some of those same neighborhoods have really fraught relationships with the police, right? And yet they want more public safety. They see the guy dealing drugs on the corner. They don't want that. So we want consequences. We want accountability. I just don't think sitting a person with a badge and a gun is always the right answer. And I think it should be a decreasingly common answer as time goes on. Same with prisons, right? If somebody's just like I'll kill again, sure, keep them locked up until we don't think that's going to happen. But it shouldn't just be, for 10 years, you've been reformed. You're a prison lawyer. You're, teaching classes, but yet you still have to sit here because 10 years ago we decided that.
This is why you fascinate me, because on the data center stuff, you're totally on the side of the people. It's like I say, he's the one guy that's fighting for the people. But then you have this position, which I think you recognize is way outside the mainstream of where regular people are.
Well, it's a horizon to walk towards. I think that, I will give Trump credit for this is, you look at Hillary Clinton, you look at Joe Biden, and they basically were just like, yeah, the world pretty much works as is. And I think that doesn't resonate with many people anymore. It's like, no, there's a bunch of things that are messed up. We're not making the money that we should. Quality of life's going down. It is not true that we could just keep walking in the same direction and get someplace we want to go. And so even if I disagree with the direction Trump claims, and I think he demonizes immigrants, he does a lot of shady business and pretends that things are happening when they're not.
He does cut some corners.
He cuts some corners, right? Cuts some contractor pay, but I think he at least recognized, hey, what we have right now isn't working. We need some fundamental changes. I agree. I don't want to just rip the Band-Aid off and just cause a bunch of chaos. I just think that we should be looking at how much money are we spending on police and prisons? What is the impact we're getting from that? And that doesn't mean make cops' lives harder. I did a ride-along with Downtown District a couple weeks ago, and every single officer, including the captain I interacted with, paragons of the profession, excellent people. They have my firm support, and I'm glad they're getting about double the pay that they were getting 5 years ago. But, more like 8 years ago, to be fair. But they also are walking around, like the first thing that the officers did when I did a 12-hour ride-along, 10-hour ride-along, is go hang signs on all the parking meters on Meridian Street saying no parking Friday night, Saturday night. I was like, oh, so you're making $85,000 a year driving your taxpayer-provided vehicle out. You get out, and then you take up some twine and tie this sign on, and then you use a magic marker and write the time. This is ridiculous. We don't need police officers to do that. In fact, we should make Park Indy do it since we don't even get the money from that.
Well, you want to get rid of the parking spaces altogether.
I mean, I want to remove the government mandate.
Do you know how hard it is to have fun downtown, Brown, as it is?
I think that we should have actually government-run parking garages that don't gouge you the same way that Denison does.
It is expensive. All right, a couple minutes left with Jesse Brown. I want to get into this.
Sure.
You were outraged that I had the Daniel Pointer guy from Heritage.
Yeah.
Heritage. Here's what I told you. I said, Brown, we're free speech people here,
Yeah.
right? I have you on. People are going to hate that I have you on.
Fair.
We have all the people on. I agreed with him on some things and not agreed with him on some things. What I don't think you can do is go around calling people Nazis and KKK people who aren't for killing people. He has views on immigration. I think you really demean what it meant to be a victim of the Nazis. 6 million people disappeared when you start calling people that were at that event, who I know many of them, they're good, decent people, Nazis. But the floor is yours. What am I getting wrong?
Okay, first off, I think any event that Jim Lucas walks out of because it's too far right and too crazy, that should be a real strong sign that you might be outside of the main.
He was mad because he had to go to a cornfield. He wasn't mad about the event. He was mad that he had to go to a cornfield, and that pissed him off because he's a lawmaker and he thinks he's above it.
Who decided to put it in a cornfield? The same guy who had a Nazi lawyer on his training, like Abdul Hakim Shabazz has written about this. Like when I met Daniel, because I called him.
You know this guy.
Know him personally.
Yeah.
Got each other's cell phone numbers. We've sent each other signal messages. The last signal message he sent to me was a racist meme.
You should sell those conversations. Like, that sounds fascinating. The you two guys on a signal message having a conversation.
Well, because when I met him, he said, I believe in climate change. I believe we need to do something about it.
He said he was a big climate guy before you guys drove him crazy.
No, he was a climate guy. He was a conservative climate guy. His entire career, he was a conservative who thought that the left should not have the monopoly on actually dealing with climate change. And so he was trying to make a nonpartisan movement, but was very clearly on the right. He was red-pilled from being a conservative to being a Nazi. Like, if you look at Daniel Scott Pointer, look at his X profile. He has as his background image a picture from the movie Zulu from 1964, which shows a bunch of white British people in red coats with guns pointing outwards at black people in Africa. That is what he chose to represent himself under his full government name. If you think that's not Nazi adjacent, I don't know what to tell you.
Look, there were 135 people there. I watched the event. You can disagree on the border stuff, but the Nazis killed 6 million people. I heard nothing from this guy about killing anybody. Like, he has views on immigration. You heard the interview. I don't agree with him on all his views on immigration.
Sure.
I just think when we start comparing people to Nazis, that's a really slippery slope. I want to ask you about the border.
Sure.
You don't believe in borders at all?
As an eventual goal, I think that we should not have borders in the way we currently.
What does that mean as an eventual goal?
So what would I do today if I was, again, dictator of the United States?
Yeah.
I don't want to be. Right?
Wild world that would be.
Right.
Woo.
What I would want to do today is say every single person in the United States has to have some sort of registration. We have to know who you are. We have to be able to track you. And I'm not a big government surveillance guy. I'm a big civil libertarian, but I just think it's reasonable. We have to have some idea. Are you fleeing a murder warrant from across the border, right? So basic, like, we have to know who you are. If you're booked after some, period of time, nobody watches the news. I think you do need to give people a little bit of time to get that together, come in, have reasonable accounting for this, right? And then I think we should make, if you are like a felon who crossed the borders illegally, then I think deportation makes sense, or some sort of exile, or some sort of fee or fine to pay your debt to society.
So you are for people having to go back to get their documentation and prove they're not violent criminals? Like, people, I mean, there's 15 to 20 million people potentially in this country illegally.
Sure. Or as Daniel will tell you, 100 million.
Well, I'm not sure there's that many, right? But I do think there's probably 15 to 20. I've tried to be fair with the estimates.
Yep. I think you're probably right.
And so what do those people stay? They have to go back? What does that look like to you?
So when I was in college, I studied in Prague for a semester, and my student visa expired 4 weeks before I left. And honestly, I was like, I'm just going to take my chances. Worst case that happens, I have to do correspondence for the last courses here, right? It ended up being fine, but I think it would have been super fair if the Czech government said, hey, man, you just overstayed your visa. That's going to be $250 that you have to pay for flouting our laws.
I love that you were on the run from the law.
Yeah, right? And so I would have paid it. As it turned out, I was at the airport leaving, and they're like, hey, and I was like, yeah, I know. They're like, well, you're going to leave, right? I was like, yeah. They're like, fine, just go.
They put you on the honor system?
Yeah, basically. But if I was to come back, then I think that would be more points. I'd have to pay more. I think that should happen, right? So if you're here, you should have to pay taxes, which most, people without documentation are paying most of their taxes. Some of them aren't receiving Social Security. I think it's actually a net impact of positive on our economy, but I still don't think it's good to have this kind of gray market shadow labor pool. I think that people should have to be registered. I think employers who intentionally hire people who they know don't have appropriate documentation should suffer most of the consequences for that.
How do you justify, for all the people who try to do things the right way, why would anyone ever do it the right way if all the millions of people who broke the law got to stay? What would their...
Well, I think you get to stay, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it.
But people would gladly pay to come in the country, right? Why?
Well, then I think we should let them.
So just unlimited people.
If you want to pay what it costs for the country, yes, absolutely.
How do you provide? I mean, we can't even provide for a country of 350 million people. Let's say you get to 1 billion people. Like, where do you cut it off?
Why would? I mean, China's got 1 billion people. Are we not as good as China, Rob? Come on.
You want America to be like China?
I mean, they're doing okay. Like look at their infrastructure. Look at videos. You can see them on TikTok of what it's like.
People left and right.
They're executing too many people. I don't agree with
this guy being a supposed Nazi, and you're like, we should be more like China.
I mean, China's not exterminating 6 million people. Like China's executing like 1,000 people a year.
In history, they've exterminated a lot more than 6 million.
We can argue about that all day, but I'm saying. Look at Europe. Europe has more people than us and a much smaller population. Like, drive out west. There is so much land available in the United States. I think we have plenty of room for people who want to work, who want to be productive members of our society. I think,
So unlimited. You want to come, you check in. As long as you're not a violent felon, boom.
I think that where that becomes unsustainable is if we have this welfare state that then just like gives you a whole bunch of benefits no matter what.
Right.
And I actually don't agree with that. As a socialist, I want there to be strong incentives for people to work. But that also means there's going to be disabled people. There's going to be children. There's going to be people who cost our society to begin with. But look at, for example, how much Governor Braun is spending right now on a program to try to attract people to come to Indiana. Like
I think that's crazy as well, right?
Right. But that's big corporations saying we need more people. We need workers here. Look at the H-1Bs, right? I don't think you should do it that way because I think that's a very I just don't think that incentivizes people to stay in the country and go to school. But we need more people. I think that we can let them have an easy pathway where they pay their fair share and then be part of our society.
One of these, I'm going to two things.
Sure.
What I'm going to try to do. One, I'm going to try to get you and Pointer in together to have a debate. I think that would be fascinating.
I would do it.
And two, one of these days when there's no city business to discuss.
Sure.
I just want to keep the socialist conversation
going.
I think you're fascinating. Jesse Brad, people want to learn more about you. By the way, you posted a video yesterday of you singing some sort of insult to Joe Hogsett, which was great. Your social media is fascinating.
Thank you.
Where can people find you, learn more about you, whatever?
I've got my own website. It's a little out of date. Still talks about DSA, for example, but www.jesseforindy.com. I'm also, it's not hard to find me on any social media. I apologize for that. It's a little much.
All right. You got mad that I did the fist bump with Pointer, and I told you I'll shake anybody's hand when they're on the show. So there you go.
So I said you got tricked by a Nazi is what I said. I'm not mad at you. I just think Daniel misled you.
We're free speech people.
I hear you.
We got the crazies on both sides, baby.
I appreciate that.
We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Well, that was a wild one, wasn't it? Good stuff. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Look, we do it here. We are the free speech people. We believe in conversations, and that's what we do. We have them from all sides of the aisle, and we hold them all accountable, and that's our program. And Jesse Brown's an interesting guy to me. We like interesting people here, regardless of what political party or whatever. And the socialism stuff is just nonsense when you have to explain it out loud. It is. It's just complete nonsense. And part of the problem with our society is we have killed the ability to critically think. We let people live in the ideals. And that's not the reality of the world. You know, it's like when you think back on your life, right? When you're a kid, even a young adult, one of the great thrills of being a kid or a young adult, and you're too young to notice it in the moment, is you get to live in the world of ideals. You know, like you guys know I write this journal every day to my daughter. At the end of every day, I write, what she did, things she did. And so, I've done this since well before she was born, every day. And one of the things I wrote to her recently was about just that when you read this book, these journals, you will know up to the point you read them how your life turned out. You will know what the story is up to that moment when you first start reading these things. Me, I have no idea how your life's going to turn out. So I am the scribe, right? Like I am the note taker. I am the documenter of everything that goes on. And when you're young, you have no idea how anything's going to go, and you're not obligated to. It's one of the great thrills, the great privileges of being a young person. And when you're young, you don't even know that. You can live in a world of ideals. You quickly find, though, in adulthood, ideals don't work. They don't get you they don't get off and get you very far. It's great to have them, but you got to meld them with a little realism in the world. You got to meld them with a little realism in the world. And the socialist people bank on people never melding the realism. Ideals. Hey, ideals are fine, right? Not reality. And when you're talking about get rid of the prisons, well, what are you going to do with the lunatics? No answer. Well, it's a goal, but how would you? You can have a goal to be in the Olympics. I mean, you're going to do it. There's no viable way to achieve that. Well, it's a goal to get rid of all prisons. Well, how? What's step one? I mean, they always want to try to pare it back like the non-violent offenders. And I am a huge proponent of there's no reason weed guy, first of all, there's no reason for weed to be illegal, but there's no reason for low-level guy to be in prison. There's just not. Doesn't mean they don't need to be held to account. Doesn't mean they don't need to be watched. Doesn't mean they don't need a viable path to make changes in their life, but you can have that conversation. It's fine. But when we start talking about, there's a different conversation between there's too many people in prison versus get rid of prisons. They want to focus on low-level guy, but then there's no step to what do you do about people who are viable, very dangerous threats to humanity. Borders. That's insane to think that you could just put 1 billion people in this country and there wouldn't be immense negative ramifications for doing that. If you have no border, you have no safeguard. Well, the people who want to come here to work, but what about the people who don't? How do you provide service for all those people? And I told Jason, I said, you guys are going to flip when he starts comparing us to how we should be more like China. It's good stuff. I love those conversations. Hey, guys, tonight we're planning on doing this, weather permitting, obviously. Going to Double D's tonight. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. Going to try to get there about 6-ish. Anthony, Gary from Indy Dwell Real Estate, myself, we're going to try to get out there. If you guys want to come hang out with us, great. Just an impromptu chance to eat out this evening. It's wing night, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. You guys are welcome to come join us. Again, I'm going to try to get there about 6-ish. And so you're welcome to come have dinner with us at Double D's in Clayton. Try to be there about 6 o'clock. Double D's Barbecue, you know, they're serious about their barbecue. They're from Memphis. Tina, Dennis, the owners, they take it very serious. Winners of best ribs, best sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. Right there on 40 in Clayton, 40 and 39 where they come together. Get the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. And, of course, I'm going to try to do this a little bit later on with our friends at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil later on this year as well. Okay. James Briggs over at the Indy Star had a column this morning, or actually came out yesterday, ripping Braun over what I call the latest shenanigans on the gas tax. Now, when we say shenanigans, it's not because of the result. I am for getting rid of the gas tax. You guys know I've talked about this for years. Gas tax is a predatory tax. It targets the most vulnerable amongst us. That's done by design. So I am a proponent of getting rid of the gas tax. However, the way Braun is doing it should not be tolerated. Because if you want to get rid of the gas tax or suspend the gas tax, you call the General Assembly in. You have the special session. You say, look, I have used the emergency order statute. I've exhausted it. It is time for the legislature to have their say. And in lieu of the General Assembly not meeting for regular session for another several months, you guys are coming in. And you guys can say yay or nay. That's how you do it. And hopefully then you get some sort of at least more permanent than what we have now dictate from the General Assembly. Braun doing this every month is ridiculous. And now the excuse of the Ukraine war, which is 4.5 years old, and the wildfires in Canada, wildfires happen all the time, as his excuse to do this, it's laughable. And so Briggs takes this on in his column available in the Indy Star. He says, he writes, quote, now, Indiana motorists will fuel up for a 5th consecutive month without paying the fuel gas tax. That's not a suspension. That's the new status quo. Exactly. You've done this month over month over month. The Iran stuff is not getting any better. You're going to see sustained level of, at the very least, gas spikes in all likelihood. That's the new normal. Trump started it. He can't solve it. He's totally stuck. He's not willing to do the thing he needs to do to end it. This is where we are. You're going to see ebbs and flows based on whatever the new supposed peace agreement of the day is. But it's not going to last. So in light of that, and you're on month 5, that's not an emergency. We made the same argument during COVID. You got a month. You don't know this virus. Whatever. Fine. I'm against even doing that, but fine. After 30 days, that's plenty of time to get the General Assembly back to do their job. We said the same thing during COVID. After 5 months, 6 months, all a year, not an emergency. It's not an emergency anymore. You've had plenty of time to plan on how to deal with it. You need to let the people in charge have their say. Briggs goes on to write, it's a new status quo. If and when Braun reinstates the gas tax, he shouldn't expect to get credit for being the guy who kept prices lower for months on end. He'll be the guy unilaterally raising prices. Exactly. Another thing I said from the beginning. Once you're in it, how are you going to get out of it? It's why he came up with this BS excuse to use Ukraine as the reason to suspend the gas tax again, because he doesn't want the smoke of the prices going up. I do not underscore this. I heard this from multiple people. A major reason that they are going to keep those gas taxes suspended as long as they possibly can and let Braun do it through executive order. They are very worried that gas tax going up and the 60 cents or more spike in prices will give the election to Bo-Bye. I heard this from multiple people not connected to each other, that the Republicans are worried that if gas shoots up 60 cents, people are going to be pissed, as they should be, and they're going to vote for Bye. Braun is stuck now because he started it. And again, you can absorb, hey, gas went up 5 cents, or gas went up 10 cents, or maybe even 20 cents. 60 cents, that is a sticker shock to the system, and it's going to be on Braun. He's not going to get any credit for what he did before. He's going to get all the blame for allowing it to go up again. He's created the new norm. Briggs is right. Briggs goes on to write, Braun has once again demonstrated his best political trick, setting traps for himself. This time, he set a gas tax trap with no obvious way out. Bingo. Once you've gone down the rabbit hole, you can't get out of it. The only way out of it, there's only two ways out of it. Either you have the General Assembly permanently declare a suspension of the gas tax, which is what he should have done, or you let the emergency declaration expire and gas goes up 60 cents. Those are your two ways out of this at this point. It's the same argument we made with Trump and the invasion of Iran. You got two options in dealing with these people. Nothing or wipe them off the face of the earth. Anything in between, it's going to end badly. It has. Braun is stuck, and he's done this to himself because Braun craves acceptance. Braun craves people going, ooh, look at what a good job you did. There's not an appetite to do it from the General Assembly. There's not an appetite to codify it into law because they want to spend the money. They want to spend that money. So they don't want a permanent suspension because they want to be able to go back to it once they reconvene next winter, this coming winter. Briggs goes on to write, every state has a gas tax. Indiana seems unlikely to pioneer a new era of road funding without one, despite populist pressure to abolish the gas tax forever. Well, actually, Indiana is already a state without a gas tax. Braun made that happen all by himself. Just like Trump and Iran, Braun doesn't seem to have come up with an exit plan. Exactly. It's not that the gas tax suspending or going away is bad. It's not. Now, Briggs and I'm sure disagree on that. He's probably for the gas tax. I believe if you're sitting on $4 billion of excessive taxation, which we are with the reserves, and that is projected to rise to $5 billion, you can take $1.5 billion of that. You're still going to end up $3.5 billion ahead and say, we are doing this for a year. I am asking the General Assembly, given the revenue projections, to come and codify this into law that this is being done for a year. It's the easiest move. It gets it off your plate. You say to the General Assembly, you guys decide whether you want gas prices to go up or not, and then it's not your problem anymore. If gas prices go back up, it's their problem, and people can punish them or reward them accordingly. Braun craves acceptance. Braun craves being liked, and now he's boxed himself in because he won't do things the right way. Hey, guys, special menu items this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro on the water in beautiful Brazil. Beef tips and mushrooms, pork chops with peach stuffing, cherry chocolate chip cake, blueberry pie featuring homemade pie crust with a kiss of honey. The menu at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage in Brazil is fabulous. You can see it for yourself. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. They're open Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, Sunday for brunch. Ask our guy Ken Eagold, regular fan and super chatter in the Rob Kendall Show YouTube chat. Ask Ken Eagold about all the menu options. See it for yourself. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Reservations are preferred but not required. 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Guys, just a reminder, you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that little thumbs up button there in the YouTube chat. Helps us grow the program. Share the feed out. Facebook, Twitter, whatever you got. Let people know we're here. You can hit the share button on YouTube and get it out. Or whether you're listening to us on demand, any of the on-demand platforms have sharing ability as well. And subscribe to whatever platform you are checking us out on. All right, we're going to take another break. Don't go anywhere. A lot more to come, including a full hour 3. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Hour 3, be here before you know it. Brought to you by the great John Rust. Of course, in Hour 3, we're also going to have the best YouTube comments of the day, where you guys are the star, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. That's all coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, there was an article in the Capitol Chronicle. We talked a little bit about that Briggs article on the gas tax. The builder people are very concerned about the gas tax suspension because they're worried it's going to cut into their money and their projects. So I'll tell you about that in Hour 3 as well. So we got a whole bunch of stuff to get to. You guys just keep it right here. Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. All right. New polling out on Trump. And one of the more interesting polls is this Economist YouGov poll. It's a pretty known poll. You always see them at the presidential elections, et cetera. They poll every state in the union on how Trump is doing. They come up with a net positive, a net negative. And you can not only see nationally what that number is, but how is he doing in every state in the union? And in the latest Economist YouGov poll, There are only 2 states where Trump has a net positive approval rating: West Virginia and Idaho. Every other state in the union, Trump has a net negative approval rating. Overall, the number is 27%. In Indiana, it's 24%. Indiana, according to the Economist YouGov poll, gives Trump a net negative approval rating of 24%. Now, that's not who would you vote for. It's how are you doing the job of president. Guys, that's Indiana. That's a Republican state. And it jives up with, it's just a little bit better than what that overall net approval rating is nationally. Again, if Trump was the Republican nominee for president 2028, he would win Indiana. I'm not like trying to say, oh, Indiana's in danger of flipping. I'm simply saying that despite his ability to maybe win an election, the way people actually view him doing his job is not good. 61% of the people nationally say they are uneasy with Trump's ability to deal with an international crisis. We've talked about this for months. One of the worst positions to be in as a politician is to have a factor that you can't control. Now, he controlled going in. I'm not disputing that. But he has no control over the situation now. He still today has the same 2 options he had 5.5 months ago. Nothing. Pull it out. Say we're done. Adios. Or blow him to smithereens. He has the same 2 options in front of him today that he did 5.5 months ago. Part of why people are so upset. And really, Trump's international standing, he's here, our standing in the world. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people fearing him, his ability to get deals done in the first term without any new wars. That was one of his biggest strengths. One of the things Trump did best in term 1 was international foreign policy. That's off the table now. He's lost that, and he's lost the people. Like there's always like that group of nutbags that are like, our standing in the world is declining. The average person looked at Trump's first term and said, good job on foreign policy. Good job. That is not the case this time. 61% say they're uneasy with Trump's ability to deal with an international crisis. The real problem Trump has now, Iran has figured out we can control the Strait of Hormuz. I don't think they had figured that out before, or they weren't willing to do it. He can't really pull out now because they could take the Strait over again. I mean, not again, continue to dominate the Strait. Trump is frozen in fear. He's frozen in the status quo. And that means the people get hit with it every single day, and there's no opportunity for Trump to make it better. It's the worst position for a politician to be in. A key issue going against you that you can't make better. 31% of all Americans say inflation is their top issue. Trump has a negative 44% approval rating on that issue. That's a death sentence as a politician, but politically. The number 1 issue overwhelmingly, and you're way underwater on it. That's not good. Another poll, Nate Silver's Silver Bulletin, which essentially, for the guys you don't know, Nate Silver is a very famous pollster. He became a thing in 2008. He got every state but one right in the presidential election. And then he became like sort of the go-to pollster guy. Now, look, we always say this about polling. It's a snapshot of a moment in time. It's very hard to do, especially sometimes on issues-oriented, whatever. But we give you what we have. Nate Silver's Silver Bulletin, which essentially aggregates all of the polls into a report, says Trump has a 58.5% negative approval rating, 38% positive. The polls that Silver uses, and they're mainstream polls, they're known pollsters, known quantity. The polls that Silver uses to create this aggregate, The best Trump does in any of them is negative 11. He's negative 20.5 overall. The best he does in any poll is negative 11. It's a Morning Consult poll from 2 weeks, last 2 weeks. Similar to the Economist poll, Silver says the aggregate on Trump for inflation is minus 42.3%. So remember, the Economist poll, number one issue, 31% said top issue, overwhelmingly number one issue, Trump was minus 44. Silver's data, that's essentially right there, 42.3%. It's the same. It mirrors the aggregate of national polling. The best issue for Trump, still immigration. That's the good news. The bad news, he's 12.5 points underwater, even on immigration. There's no issue, guys, not a single issue where the American people go, doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. And that usually doesn't translate well to the ballot box. You got to have something to hang your hat on. You think about Obama when he ran for re-election. I get Trump's not running for re-election, but we have an election coming up. Obama was awful on Obamacare. Republicans won huge gains, 62 seats, I think, in the midterms in 2010. Obama still won election. Why? Because he was able to hang his hat on and convince the American people you were at risk of the Great Depression when I took office, and now the economy's stable. Couple that with the Republicans putting Romney out there, who was like the worst guy possible. And people said, we'll stay with what we got. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't have been a Great Depression. Economy's decent enough now. We've punished him with Obamacare, putting the Republicans in. We're going with this guy. The economy was actually a winner for Obama because they had injected so much money into it. They were able to stabilize it. Now, guys like me were screaming 15 years ago about inflation. It just took a while to catch up to us. Dr. Munger and I, Michael Munger, Duke economist, we've had this conversation many times on this show and the old radio show. Why did inflation take so long? Don't know. But when it finally did, man, was it bad. Man, was it brutal. But Obama had the economy. Trump has nothing. There's nothing Trump can go to and go, man, this is really good. The people really like me. All right, let's go ahead and take our final break. Hour 3 brought to you by John Rust will be up next. We're going to roll through it without any sort of commercials. And we're going to talk about these BMV workers facing criminal charges for accepting bribes. Crazy story. We're going to talk about how the construction people are starting to get really panicky about the gas tax suspensions because they want their projects to make money more than what they want you to save money. We'll tell you about that. We got the best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing from Jason. We got a lot more to get to. Hour 3 brought to you by John Rust will be with us next. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Hey guys, welcome back. Hour 3, Rob Kendall Show, brought to you by the great John Rust. Thank you, John Rust. Speaking of John Rust, have you RSVP'd yet? We got our big event Saturday, October the 3rd. Celebration of you, the Rob Kendall Show listeners and viewers at the Palatial Rust Estate in Seymour. It's going to be a celebration of America's 250th birthday. You are invited. There's going to be an antique car show. Lunch catered by Double D's. Free lunch, right? Who says there's no such thing as a free lunch? You got the patriotic music. I'm going to give a speech. It's Jason's birthday, so a birthday cake there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Again, totally free to attend. All you got to do to come hang out with us is RSVP. Send an email, rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. Tell John, here's my name. Here's how many people I'm bringing with me. So he knows how much food to order. That's it. rustforamerica@gmail.com. And you can hang out with us Saturday, October the 3rd, 2026 in Seymour. Oktoberfest is going on down there as well. We would love to have you guys be a part of that with us. rustforamerica@gmail.com. Also, want to tell you about our friends at All American Dog Fence. You guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard. Your HOA won't allow a fence. Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime they go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. All American Dog Fence, the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system designed to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All American Dog Fence, locally owned. Kelly and Jeff, they're the owners. They love All American Dog Fence so much, they bought the business. How about for a testimonial? All American Dog Fence prides themselves on a couple of things. Number one, cheaper than the big guys. Number two, better customer service than the big guys. Get all the information on their Pet Stop products, which are backed up by a lifetime warranty made right here in the United States. Call or text All American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Visit their website, allamericandogfence.com, allamericandogfence.com. And how about this for a deal? You guys mentioned the Rob Kendall Show. You call them up, you text them, and you say, hey, I'm a Rob Kendall Show listener. I'm a Rob Kendall Show viewer. I love the Rob Kendall Show. They're taking $200 off your product. $200 off just for mentioning Rob Kendall Show. All American Dog Fins, 317-862-6606. Okay. Interesting article from the Indiana Capital Chronicle about how the special interests are getting nervous about the gas tax suspension and you getting a few bucks back extra in your pocket because they're worried it might affect their pocketbook. One of the things that is really, I don't know if depressing is the right word, but it feels overwhelming, is there are so many special interests against you when it comes to government and government policy. So many groups that want something specific for themselves, for their members, for their pocketbooks, and they have big sway. And you're fighting them. You're not just fighting the politicians to do what's right. You're fighting against these special interest groups. And here with the gas tax suspension, you see very clearly from some of these groups I'm going to talk about, their goal is not you and your pocketbook. Their goal is them and their projects, which help their pocketbook. According to the Capital Chronicle, Indiana Constructors President Richard Hedgecock held a news conference Tuesday and said, quote, "We don't want this temporary disruption to become the norm as Indiana funding sources diminish." His focus? Not you, not the price of gas, not making sure you can afford gas. His focus is make sure the projects don't stop. Quote, "Our current funding projections will allow us to perform only the most basic maintenance without adding to the network that has brought our state so much economic success." Look, here's the problem, Richard Hedgecock. The average person isn't feeling economic success. All the stuff the state is doing hasn't translated into better lives for a lot of our citizens. So when you talk about economic success, yeah, tippy-top people doing great. Regular people, not so good. What Braun has done with the gas tax suspension is create an opportunity for better, quote-unquote, economic success for regular people. Now, I may disagree with the fact that he's doing it or how he's doing it, and he needs to call a special session to do it, but it's indisputable that saving people 60 cents a gallon on their gas is helping their pocketbooks. You know, you got a 20-gallon tank, it's $12 every time you fill up your gas tank. Even if you said it's only $12 a week, over the course of 52 weeks, that's a lot of money. It's almost $600. That is actually helping the economic, what word did he use? The economic success of regular people. But a guy like Richard Hedgecock, not interested in the success of regular people. He's interested in the projects. He's interested in the government funding the projects. We have to continue to invest if we want to move forward, he said. A lot of people don't feel like we're moving forward at all. A lot of people feel like, especially the past 10 years, they've been left behind. Moving forward is speak for government doing stuff. That's the translation of government doing stuff. And Richard Hedgecock, Indiana Construction's president, is interested in the government doing stuff, not you having more economic success. Look, we have a $4 billion surplus. I touched on this earlier, or reserves. It's projected to go to $5 billion. You could suspend the gas tax for an entire year, and it would only, quote unquote, cost $1.6 billion. Everyone's fine. Everything would be fine, except for maybe we don't get the excessive projects like we've had in the past. Quote, "We must acknowledge the importance of reinstating this funding mechanism to protect the vulnerability of Indiana's transportation grid," said Brian Gould, the executive director of Build Indiana Council. The organization represents the road and bridge construction industry groups. Again, focus not on you, focus on projects, because projects are more money for our people. He emphasized that gas taxes are easy to collect. More of the money collected goes to infrastructure instead of administration and hits sooner rather than other mechanisms. There are dollars that go back out for a project 45, 60 days later usually. We're a cash pay state, Gould said. We would hate to suspend gas taxes into the long term and look at things like debt. That's not a long-term viable solution for our needs. See, his world is never we can do more with less. His world is never maybe you guys can do with less. His world is we got to get as much as we can. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Don't you dare cut it off. The reality is, of course, for an entire year, you could fully fund everything as is without any disruption because of the excessive taxation that has taken place other places. Now, get a load of this. This is the one that really got me hot. They're trying to rewrite history on the largest tax increase in the history of our state. The never-ending gas tax of 2017. The gas tax increase of 2017 that never ends was the largest tax increase in the history of our state. And listen to how they're trying to rewrite history. I'm going to read you his quote, and then we're going to pick it apart. This is Brian Gould, the executive director of Build Indiana Council. When we passed that road funding package then, we understood we had about a decade that we could continue to rely on fuel taxes. Bull. That's not how they sold the gas tax at all. They sold the gas tax in 2017. If you guys go back to 2017, they sold the gas tax on a long-term funding solution. Now, people like me said, this is not a long-term solution because the government, the federal government, is driving more and more people away from gas-powered cars. They're driving auto companies to make cars that get better gas mileage. And we were told, sit down and shut up. This was not sold as you've got 10 years. This was sold as a multi-decade solution. Some of us said at the time, it is certainly not that, and it hasn't been. A few years into it, they're already looking at new ways to raise taxes. But that's revisionist history. To try to say that this was at the time, we got 10 years, and then, no, they said it's a multi-decade deal. It didn't get anywhere close to that. This is what government always does. They come up with a stupid idea. They come up with definitive statements about it. People raise their hand and go, I don't know. They get told to sit down and shut up. Then it doesn't work out and they just rewrite history. Well, it was a 10-year plan. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. Then this same guy, Brian Gould, with the Build Indiana Council, comes out in support of another tax increase on you, tolling. He desperately wants the tolls on I-70. A reminder, Capitol Chronicle did a good job of this. The Braun administration is seeking federal permission to toll Interstate 70 to pay for the widening to 6 lanes. That's their goal. They want to make 70 6 lanes. Who would 6 lanes benefit? The truck drivers. And it's nothing against the truck drivers, but that is a want project rather than a need project. And they are proposing, the Braun administration presented to the federal government last year, driving across I-70's 156 miles would cost you 10 cents a mile or $15.60 for a car and $84.24 for semi-trailers. Tax increases, and this guy, Brian Gould, is all in on it. Quote, 6 years ago, we were told by the Indiana Department of Transportation that to get to 6 lanes on I-65 and I-70 was about a 40-year process. 6 years later, now the number's 70 years. That's a whole nothing generation. That's a whole nother generation. That's another lifetime. Hoosiers are not going to be that patient. So we need to raise your taxes so that they can get to work making money. The groups that they represent, the people that they represent can get to work making money. It's never about you or your pocketbook. Do you guys notice this? It's never about you or your pocketbook. It's always about somebody else being able to make money. And when there's a disruption to the free flow, never ending government money cycle, or even the potential of that, they get really nervous. Not because they're worried about you, but because they're worried about the pipeline of funds getting cut off to them. Some guy who is worried about you, Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Anthony owns Indy Dwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just show houses. He finds you homes with everything you're looking for. He explains your options and gets your offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. You'll never be handed off to an administrator. You get Anthony, the owner of Indy Dwell Real Estate, from start to finish. Put Anthony's expert buying strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. All right, one more story I wanted to touch on, and then we will get to producer Jason with the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Major doings with the BMV. How about this? Crazy story. Staying over at the Indiana Capitol Chronicle for it. This is should be very concerning to everyone. Get a load of this. 2 former customer service workers at the BMV each face 1 count of a level 5 felony of bribery and 1 count of a level 6 felony for official misconduct filed last week by the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. Both workers worked at the BMV's Indianapolis Midtown branch on the northeast side. The 2 former customer service workers each face 1 count of a level 5 felony bribery and 1 level felony count for official misconduct. One of the workers told investigators that she received, quote, a couple $100 per fabricated driver's test, while the other said she received $75 or $100 per test, according to a probable cause affidavit filed by prosecutors. So what happened here is these 2 former BMV workers were taking bribes, allegedly, although this report claims they've admitted to it. They accepted bribes to submit fraudulent passing scores on written driver's tests. So, there's the driver's test itself, and then there's the written test, and these workers were allegedly receiving bribes to pass people who couldn't pass the written test. The BMV became suspicious, staffers at the BMV became suspicious about some non-native English speakers passing the driver's test in English after having previously failed the test in their preferred language. Guys, this is potentially a huge deal if it went down the way the accusations say. We have all these reports right now out about these truck drivers, many of them, in some cases, not citizens of the United States, but those who are not permanent residents of the United States or not permanent citizens of the United States. We have people on the roadways involved in accidents, many of them not speaking English. And then you have this allegation in which people who could not pass the test are then getting driver's licenses by bribing government officials. This is potentially a huge story. We need to pay attention to it, because if it's accurate, who knows how many people are actually also out there doing this. They usually don't catch all the people, and that could be a danger to every single person on the roadways. Hey, you guys, got a masonry color mismatch? Previous repair catching your eye? Not happy with the brick color in your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new, Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, beauty built to endure. And with that, it is time for you to become the star of the show. The best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Reminder of how this works. All you have to do to be in the YouTube chat is be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and then you can join hundreds of other very passionate Rob Kendall Show viewers, listeners, whatever you want to call them, and make your comments, chat back and forth, discuss topics we've discussed on the show. Producer Jason monitors those throughout the program, and at the end of the day, he reads back some of the best ones to spark further conversation about topics we've discussed on the program. And with that, Jason.
Speaking of topics discussed, Buck0707, good morning all. Basement flooded. I need Bramwell Mackay.
Bramwell Mackay, call them up. They're your people.
They'll hook you up. If you got plumbing problems, you'll want to call Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. Owner John McKinney, he's a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. Water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give them a call, give them a text, get a hold of them, 765-315-7558. It's on the website, robkendallshow.com, 765-315-7558, Black Sheep Plumbing.
There you go.
All right, awesome. So we get started. I'm not sure who was first in the chat today. Let me get this rigged up here. But we're going to start with, I guess, as always, with MLM Warriors. He's going to guess you were wearing a yellow shirt today.
Salmon.
He'd be wrong.
Salmon.
He says, I need to start tracking Rob's shirt colors to see if there's a pattern in his picks.
There's no pattern.
I think he favors his purple shirt. I do not think he has a red shirt. No, you don't have a red shirt.
I do not have a red shirt.
You've got a red, kind of a crimson striped, dark red.
Yep, I have a red checked shirt.
Yeah, I guess we'll call
red
it checked
shirt.
Yes.
Maybe I'll wear that one day.
There
just
you
to
go.
Piss Jason off.
MLM Warriors getting the spreadsheet ready. All right, continuing on. And if you want to get in the chat, all you got to do is make a comment. And if it's short, pithy, and cool, we may read it. Josh Richardson, you'd be lying to yourself if you can't admit there is a racial aspect to the WNBA.
I think there definitely is a racial component to it.
Yeah. Bucko707, I don't think this will change until somebody is seriously injured or killed. Somebody ends up in the hospital. They might have to investigate. Josh Richardson, exactly, Buck. What's it going to take? Someone is knocked unconscious on the court? Could be. Robert Schwartz, the problem with the WNBA, no one wants to come to the grips with what the WNBA truly is. And if you bring it up, the post gets deleted. No, it doesn't. I mean, not here anyway. All right. Unless you're using just, foul language or, that's, there's certain words we're not going to allow. We're a very diverse audience here. We welcome all. Ethan Hatcher. Good morning, Robbleheads. It's another amazing day to tune into the epic rants of Rob Kendall. Stay safe during the storms. Yep, I think hopefully everybody survived so far. Debbie Holcomb, WNBA is imploding. Caitlin and Sophie will start their own league and leave them in their own pile of dust.
Here's the problem with starting the own league.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Her window to do that is going to close because everybody wants to see everything you do period of her is going to expire.
Sure. Yeah. She's already leading the league in everything. Well, not everything, but I think she had 45-point game, which I think is I know that's a Fever. Well, I think the Fever record was 40, 45, maybe a league record. I'm not sure, but she's still tearing it up out there. Alan C. Stephanie White's latest interview was fake anger. Of course, now they're saying they all get along and they love each other. And it's kind of like your boss. It's like, he may have weird, wacky opinions, be a terrible manager, stuff like that, but you still can get along with him and do your job. Doesn't mean that you agree with him. Doesn't mean he's got your back. All right. Continuing on. And
that's pretty rare for a coach, though, like publicly to do what she did.
Publicly, yeah.
I mean, to say basically she took the side of the other player.
Yeah. Well, she's admitting it's more of the social side that she's concerned with.
Yeah, totally.
And not the personal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Don B, 16 hours without power and no one from AES even working on it in my area. AES sucks, he says. 107 without power in his neighborhood.
And you may be getting a $71 million tax increase.
Right. So that way your power will never go out again. Ethan
Our
Hatcher.
power went out here yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah, we can always tell when the power goes out here because the directory board is a digital board when you walk in the door, and it's always back to reset. It says needs to be reset, so we can always tell when the power goes out. Basically, I think if it rains at all, the power goes out here. We've just been like incredibly lucky, knocking on wood, that it's always afternoon. Hopefully that doesn't change. Okay. Continuing on. Here we go. Okay. But listening live while okay. Christy Avery listening live while dog sitting.
Oh, excellent. Hi, Christy. We love
Watch the
Christy
language,
Avery.
She says. Watch the language. The dog has sensitive ears, apparently.
Okay, very good.
Shrog Sandwich jumps in, says, Christy, my dog cusses more than I do. Yeah, I believe that somehow. Boom, boom, boom. Alan C. Might have to cover the dog's ears from time to time, Christy. No, we're a radio-friendly show.
Yeah.
Josh Richardson. Now, I can't say that from a few months ago. If you go back and listen to a couple of the archives.
Yeah, but we are now.
Rob's trashy mouth. Josh Richardson.
By the way, our friends at JOB Northwest Indiana, they got hit very hard with the storms last night. Their internet's still down, so we were not on with them today.
Actually, it was yesterday. I think I saw that they were hit about 11:30 their time, which is right in the middle of when they run the Rob Kendall Show on WJOB in Northwest Indiana. So hopefully you didn't get knocked off the air.
Yeah, I think they had bigger problems to worry about. But thankfully, the radio station was fine. You remember those days? You're always worried the tower's going to fall over.
Right. We used to worry about our tower falling over because it was held together by very strong rust, and not John Rust. Josh Richardson, we can now start the chat. Shrog is here. Yes, Shrog Sandwich is here, so we can get on with the chat. Charles Luty was in today as well.
Yeah,
good to see Charles back. Yeah, we love you, Charles. McLovins, I received my letter from John Rust.
Oh, very good. Directions to his house.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And with the golden ticket. Did you get your golden ticket, Rob? A little golden ticket in there.
Oh.
Got to have your golden ticket. You got to read through it. Debbie Holcomb at McLovins. Can't wait to see you in person. That would be at the John Rust 250th birthday anniversary party celebration.
I'll be there.
Show, pipe organ concert, Jason's birthday. Jan 17. Stephanie White needs to be fired. That won't happen. She's the coach of the Fever. 0601 O-Board. 15 minutes or so behind listening. The WNBA has no idea how to interact with normal people.
No, they don't. And I mean, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
They've had the last several years.
Alan C., I'm usually here, but listen more than chat. Also listen a lot on Apple.
Thank you.
We encourage that. iHeart, Apple, Spotify.
We get a lot of people on the on-demands now, and it's amazing to me how many people are doing it.
And for those that don't know how to get it on your phone so that you can listen anytime you want, you just go to like iHeart Radio app. It's free, and the Rob Kendall Show is on there along with all the other stations and podcasts that iHeart Radio has. So that's an easy way to do it if you don't know where to go. Ryan, off the rails, Rob, bring the heat. Debbie Holcomb, what's happening in Indiana deserves Rampage Rob.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Right. Christy Avery, still talking about the WNBA. The way Stephanie White danced around the trans issue makes me think the league has sent a memo not to engage on the topic if the former NBA players, that would be the men, want to live as women and play with women, fine.
That would be wild if they let them.
Yeah, because then you would most of the teams would become just men. Of course, they could refuse to, as you said, I think, didn't you cover that? They could refuse to draft these guys.
Yeah.
But that would be collusion, and I would imagine that's against the law.
Well, so they really got three options.
And then when they sue, you get discovery, and all their text messages, all their calls, all the paper trail comes out, and we'll see what kind of real people these are.
Well, so you got three options, right? Option one, which is the most common sense one, which they're not going to do. We say, men cannot play in this league. You got to be a biological woman. You got to be born a woman, however they want to write it. And then we're done. They're not going to do that, though, because there's too many crazy people that are invested in the league. Option two is to ignore them and tell everybody, do not draft them. And that's the end result, right, as it goes to court, because they'll sue. And then option three is let them play in the league. I mean, I don't see any way. If there's another option, let me know. But I don't. I mean, they could try
to come out with the guidelines that a woman is a woman. Because again, you ask 10 people what a trans person is, you'll get 10 different answers.
Yeah,
you won't get. Well, it's a man that has had everything cut off and has taken the hormones and all that stuff and is then transitioning into a woman, that's not necessarily trans. That is one definition of a trans. But you don't have to cut the junk off. You can still be a full-fledged man. You don't have to wear a wig. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to go all that. You can just be a man, like there are men that are consider themselves women, and that's fine. You can do that, but there is no litmus test for it. There's no physical test for it, obviously, according to these people. And there's no, I mean, you can't say, well, no, you're just faking it. Well, how do you know that? How do you know I didn't wake up one day and decide I was? Well, that's just, you're being ridiculous. Yeah, it is ridiculous. The whole argument's ridiculous because you can't define it.
Well, and so that's the fourth option is they could come up with some definition of what all that is.
Right.
But then that's going to be even weirder.
Because the actual trans or actual people born with both the male and female, what's the word? Not biology. There's chromosomes or whatever. They are out there. They're not the ones trying to play in the WNBA. Right. They're not the ones playing in women's sports. They're just living their life quietly. But yes, they're out there. That's not who we're talking about, and that's what they want to make it like. Well, they didn't choose to be born that way. Well, I mean, that's, whatever. Okay, continuing on. Chris Chafin. Rob and anyone like him is so needed in office.
Thank you.
How much?
$10 million. I mean, I wouldn't go to me. I'm saying I would need to run a campaign.
Write him a check for $10 million and then pay for his campaign. MLM Warriors. That'd be like every other politician. MLM Warriors. Time for me to email Todd Young.
Is that a daily thing?
Daily Todd Young email.
Yeah.
Mad Duck. Hey, Whitty, aren't you on the show today too?
Woody will be on the show tomorrow.
Yep. We're going to finish early here, and he'll come in and give his wisdom.
And then Statehouse Happenings drops tomorrow morning as well. I'll probably put it out tonight, depending on how fast Jason can work. I want to get back from Double D's.
Not that fast. Mad Duck, call a crackhead. You know who that refers to. Call a crackhead. I did that pretty good, didn't I?
It was pretty
call
close.
A crackhead.
Pretty close.
Yeah, that's Senator, well, I can't remember his name now. Kennedy. Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
I thought you were talking about Chappelle.
No. The senator that you had, you played his sound, you played his clip earlier.
Oh, John Kennedy.
Kennedy. Yeah. Right. Call a crackhead.
Didn't Chappelle do that? Didn't Chappelle do something similar to that?
I think Kennedy did it better. That's who Mad Duck's referring to. I would bet donuts to dollars on that one. Chris Chafin, Munster, Indiana got hit really hard. The pictures are very sad. Yeah, Northwest Indiana, JOB territory up there. It did get hit pretty bad. Mark Tribble, we got hit hard up here yesterday in Munster and the region. Still have power at my house, but hoping it's not round 2 later today. Yeah, a lot of power outages up there. Steve Green with an E. You guys need to be in a place with a backup generator. This show is too important to go down.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't yet. We've never been kicked off the air yet, but, who knows? Driver. Sounds like Rob and Jason need to get them some ups and a generator to switch over to.
I don't know if we'd be able to. Where would we put a generator in here?
We have to put it outside. So it'd be down on the. We're up in the penthouse suite.
Yeah.
So it'd be a long cable. We'd have to run we'd have to drill a hole in the wall.
Somebody would steal it.
Run a electric extension cord.
In this neighborhood, somebody would steal it.
Absolutely, yes. Okay. MLM Warriors. Todd Young, thank me for sharing my opinion. Oh, Todd Young thanked me for sharing my opinion with him.
Did he do anything about it?
I'm sure it's one of those form deals. Thank you so much for sharing your opinion. We will not pay attention to it. Your opinion will be ignored in the order received.
It will be ignored in the order in which is received. That is correct, yes.
Josh Richardson, Rob needs a generator sponsor. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Alan C., generator graciously sponsored by ... All right. Now we get to the Jesse Brown interview. Jay, Indiana. You can smell the commie on this guy. Chris Chafin. I agree with Rob. Jesse has wild ideas, but he's very honest, transparent, and engaging. Well, that was early in the interview. Okay, Steve Green with an E. I really don't care for this dude wiggling his toes on my big screen. How about a little decency? He did have the sandals on there, which I noticed as he came in, but I thought, well, they're out of the picture. And no, he took care of that. They were right there in the picture, in the forefront. Jay, Indiana. Jesus was the only man who could pull off wearing sandals. Kenneth Egold, You can get rid of the prisons if you start executing.
Well, that's
one way to do it.
A fair observation, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The prisons thing was a little squirrely, wasn't it? Or is it a lot squirrely?
Yeah, it's, come on now. You got some violent people there, and you can't deport them, according to Jesse, because it's open borders and there is no country, so you can't deport them from somewhere, so you got to keep them. What are you going to do with them? Steve Green with
that's the thing, though, right? It's like, okay, you have this idealistic view of the world. What do you do with these people? They're not going to stop.
There were quite a few holes in that.
Yes, there were many holes. But,
right.
That's the thing with the socialists, though. They've got the young people now to the point where they don't think all that through.
Right.
They're like, yeah, we should blah, blah, blah. But what do you do with these people?
Just treat people nicer. That's all we got to do.
Totally.
And they'll come around. We're so mean to everybody, and that's why they kill people. John Rust, the answer on crime is keep criminals in prison.
That's right.
McLovins, that's just stupid to think that prisons should close. And I'm reading this, assuming Jesse has got enough of a backbone to take all the criticism.
Oh, yeah, he don't care. Jesse don't care.
No, Lucas Notoris, what time is the next segment? I'll come back then. We're here. Hopefully you're back. Drew, deport him. Deport Jesse. Timothy Sears, you don't close prisons. All in caps. Drew, deport him by catapult. All right, Drew. Almond Joy Tempo. Good morning, everyone. I'm late tuning in. Jesus' shoes only look good on the Lord. I guess I just don't get communism, and I'm proud of that fact. Hashtag, and by the way. Charles Ludi, Christian socialist is an oxymoron, especially when you're a closet communist. There we go. Vivi GC, I used to work at the jail. There is a lot of manipulation in jail. There would be tons of good guys, good in quotations, good guys, that would play the part, then get out and do crimes again. No way. Yeah, you probably saw a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, the recidivism rate in this country is pretty high, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, I would think so. Mad Duck, well, of course, they say that's because you put them in prison and hardened them.
That's right.
Well, they were hardened before they went to prison. They just sharpened their skills in prison.
That's right.
That's why you don't let them out. Mad Duck, where's the hook? Remove this clown from the stage. Kevin Branham, definitely a commie. Alan C., why track if there are no borders? That was kind of a hypocritical thing. Yeah, we let everybody in, 1 billion people. He said, you put the number out there, 1 billion, and they can just kind of flood in, but they have to register at the door.
Didn't he say we're just supposed to put them in the West?
Yeah, there's plenty of space out west. There's deserts out there with nothing there. And, they'll build their own town at their own expense. They won't cost taxpayers any money.
This is where I can't figure
because they don't go to the cities where the benefits are. They go out to the middle of the desert, and they'll be happy.
Well, this is what I can't figure out with him. Because, like, the data center stuff, he's been the leader on that. He's absolutely spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Holding Hogshead accountable. He's one of the few guys that'll do it. Absolutely spot on. You're like, okay, I can see this guy, a little goofy, but he makes sense, right? You're like, okay. But then you get into the stuff on the national stuff at the borders and the prisons. It's like, how could these be the same guy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, continuing on.
We love you, Jesse.
Oh, yeah. Charles Ludi, there is fatigue among police all throughout the country, and you're going to employ non-commissioned officers to do a job which is highly stressful. This guy's a loon. McLovins, this guy is absolutely crazy. Now, the one point he made, I think, that I picked up on that was like, okay, that sounds reasonable is, the police shouldn't be out there putting the no parking tags. I mean, that could be done by the guys walking around in the yellow vests and all that stuff. So, yeah. But, again, they're also there to patrol the area, probably getting their lay of the land type of thing. I don't know. John Rust, this guy is nuts. No prisons, no borders. Ugh. Christy Avery, Jesse does make a lot of sense. The PRISM system revolving is not working. Well, don't revolve it. Well, leave them there.
How do you?
And again, if they're there on a marijuana charge, no, that's silly. We're past that. But if they're there on violent offender charges, again, a guy that's caught with a bag of weed should not be put in with a mass murderer. So there should be different places they would go or whatever. And some of the guys your dad had to deal with, federal criminals, I'm sure he would agree that no prisons would be the way to go.
Oh, it's insane.
They would
It's
calm
insane.
these guys down to where they would not keep committing crimes.
It's insane.
Yeah. Connie Lindsay, holy cow, no. Obviously, he hasn't read the Constitution. Chris Chafin, in a real world, it's not realistic for 50 million people to return to their home country. A desire, okay. Realistic, no. Well, I think a lot of people have the vision that people are coming from a war-torn, just demolished city that they're coming from. Mexico is not a war-torn, demolished cities. The government and the people have allowed it to become a cesspool, but they can certainly live there. There's millions of people living there. They're living in Guatemala. They're living in Honduras. They're living everywhere these people are coming from, Haiti and all that stuff. Their families are still there. They didn't bring their family with them, so their family's living in hell, but they get to come here and watch MTV. Well, MTV's not a thing anymore, is it? Wow,
no, it's over.
I'm showing my age.
It's over.
I've been watching a lot of documentaries.
MTV is over.
Okay, I've been watching music documentaries, and they all got started, of course, on MTV, just popped into my head. Sorry. Okay, witty reviews. Deport Jesse. All right.
I think a Jesse witty debate would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be down for that. Or I'm going to try to get Jesse and that Daniel Pointer dude.
I'm not
together.
bleeping it out, so
yeah,
it'd be a lot.
We'll
of
play it
bleeps.
after 10, so we don't interfere with JOP.
Right. Okay. McLevins, I don't like this guy's words. Jerry Hankins. You can tell Jesse has never had to work for a living, just run his ignorant pie hole. Does he have a job?
I don't think Jesse does.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been pretty vocal about that. Jesse, if I have misremembered that, please let me know. But I don't. I think Jesse views being the councilman as his job.
Mad Duck brings up the question: what's worse, a Nazi or an imbecile with no clue?
But nobody's a Nazi. Like the guy, that Daniel Pointer guy is not a Nazi. He may have views on immigration.
I mean, the same people that say that want the Jews all. They're anti-Jew. I mean, it's like, and that's fine if you want to be, I guess. But I mean, it's like you're not connecting one with the other, which tells me you're really not sure what a Nazi is.
I don't like your views on immigration. Okay, that's quite all right. You're not entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make you a Nazi. And again, when you got 135 people in that meeting the other night or a couple weeks ago, I saw the pan. I knew a bunch of people there, and a bunch of those people aren't even political allies of mine. They're, in bed with all the Rokita Micah crowd now, and they don't like me. And it's like, that's okay, but they're not Nazis. You are demeaning. I mean, when you say that about Rokita or Micah,
or
it's like
KKK,
you're demeaning what those people. First of all, that's one of the worst things you can say to another human. And you're demeaning and belittling what the people went through who were victims of actual Nazis, KKK, whatever. There's plenty of things you can criticize Rokita and Mike on. They're not Nazis.
Witty Reviews also brings up another good point. What happens when these people refuse to work? Because Jesse said, you bring in 1 billion people, or you might have put that, okay, 1 billion, whatever, but you got 1 billion people here. They got to have jobs. First of all, there's not that many jobs for those people. And if they don't work, are we going to deport them?
That's right.
Or how are we going to, you're going to let them die? You're just going to let them die in the street? That's very compassionate, Jesse.
Yeah.
You can't deport them, so you got to feed them. You got to clothe them. You got to get
There's
them
all
healthcare.
sorts of holes in the stuff.
And then you got 350 million people. I don't know how many of those people actually work and have jobs, but they're going to support 1 billion people. And he brings up China as the...
that was
China
wild,
will
wasn't it?
certainly you'll either work or you'll go to the camp and work. You're not hanging out in moms.
To aspire to be more like China was a weird flex.
That was very strange. Okay, continuing on. There we go. Oh, MLM Warriors, interesting interview. There we go. We get to get all sides.
Look, Jesse is interesting. Say whatever you want. He's interesting and he's good on air.
There's sometimes if you watch like the national news and they bring on the Looney Tunes and things, regardless of what party you think is a Looney Tune, and you're like, I'm not going to why do you keep bringing these people on? But they choose the people that are just out there for the purpose of titillation. Jesse, I think, is a good study. I mean, he's interesting to hear. Without the total, I mean, it's like you don't hate the guy just because of what he's saying.
Oh, he's very nice.
And like, again, the national, they bring people, you're just like, I hate that person.
Look, he's one of those guys, and I have a friend who met with him the other day. Like, they not a public meeting. They just went and got together. He never met him before, and they met. And he's like, super nice guy. He's super, like, you sit down and have a conversation with him. You get out of the politics, normal guy, nice dude. He's just got some really screwed up political beliefs about how he thinks the world or the country would work. But you're right.
Mm-hmm.
He's an elected official, so he's an important person. He's an Indianapolis City County Councilor, so he's got sway over 1 point whatever the new budget is, $1.9 billion. I mean, he's an important person. He's a legitimate person. He's just got some wacky views on the world, and call him out on him and go about your merry way.
And Mad Duck wanted to clarify. She didn't say he was a Nazi, but he's definitely an imbecile. Yeah, the comparison was which is worse, a Nazi, which was what he was calling people, or an imbecile, which is what Mad Duck, I think, was. Right. So we got that, Mad Duck. All right, Josh Richardson, just think there are people like Brown all over this country running for office and are in office already. Oh, a lot worse. Some are even more extreme, as he points out. We have a serious problem, people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like that Hong woman who got beat last night running for governor in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
She's way more extreme than Brown is, and she almost would be the governor. I mean, he's an Indianapolis City County Councilor, important position, but it ain't the governor. And those people are starting to win Congress seats and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Drew says Jesse is fun to hang out with.
Nice guy.
Yeah. You can disagree.
A very nice guy.
Christy Avery seems to be the lone voice of difference here. He makes sense, but needs more research. If people want to work and contribute to society, they are not violent criminals. Let them in. Well, how do you know? You're going to let them in, and then you're going to monitor them?
Yeah.
You're going to watch those billion people, and hey, that guy over there, yep, he's not contributing to society. Let's kill him. Nope, can't do that. Let's deport him. Nope, can't do that because there's no border. How you deport somebody over a mythical border?
Yeah, and the other problem with they're not a violent criminal is you're banking off one that didn't get caught or that their home country is policing any of it.
You think a criminal that's coming over that's like, hey,
right.
I'm here to do things to little children. We don't allow that. Well, okay, I'll go back home then.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it doesn't work that way. All right, Kevin Branham, good interview, Rob, but he's out there. 0601 board, can't have open borders, free trade of labor with generous welfare programs. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Rusted Bolt Garage, Double D is going to be a madhouse today.
Oh, yeah, maybe there'll be a few people show up.
C-Mills.
6 o'clock.
Yep, 6 o'clock. C-Mills need to get some dang wangs. Wangs. W-A-N-G.
Wangs.
Guy made fun of me one time at the Burger King drive-thru because I said, I need some onion rings. And he went, and I don't think he knew I think he was like laughing at a buddy.
He had the button pusher.
Got a redneck with some onion rings. I didn't know how to handle that, so I had a few words.
Are you a redneck?
I guess.
Well,
I could come off as a redneck easily. Mad Duck, I want brisket. C-Mills, you're literally not going to be able to park at Double D's tonight. Yeah, you will.
Park on 40. It'll be fine.
Squeeze in there. They'll love it. They'll love it. Christy Avery, I also got my golden ticket from John Rust.
Excellent.
That's what you get the mail. You get the little golden ticket. McLevins, thank you, John Rust, for hour number 3. Josh Richardson, thanks again, John Rust. John Rust answers. Welcome. Driver, thanks to John Rust for the extra hour.
That's right. Thank you.
Was trying to say there. Steve Green with an E, Rust or bust. McLevins. Okay, wait a minute. Nope. Sorry, McLevins. We'll get you on the next one. Kevin Branham. Thank you, John Rust, for hour number 3. Driver. I'm back, and my call went well. He had to take off apparently earlier.
I'm glad it went well for you.
Yep.
We got to catch up on whatever you missed.
Yep. With weather, is Rob still going to Double D's?
That's my plan.
Rob's
as long as Anthony's going to drive me.
Shouldn't be too bad later on. This evening. I think it's all going to start clearing a little bit here. McLevins, Mr. Rust, may we visit the barns and your critters in October for the 250th anniversary and Jason's birthday party? And John answers somewhere down here, we aren't doing barn tours with the chickens out of concerns over the avian influenza risk.
Oh, yeah.
But someday we will again. So you get everything except the tour of the chicken coop.
No chicken coop.
But he's
tour.
He's on his on the letter that he sent some photos, and he's got like he collects pipe organs.
Yeah,
those are the big church, these big old huge like they used to have.
That's his hobby.
Where they used to have that, was it not Chuck E. Cheese? It was
Showbiz Pizza.
Showbiz Pizza.
Yeah.
Didn't they used to have the big organ?
Yeah, they did.
Pipe organ type thing. He's got those like he's got several. He buys them, restores them. Hey, he's got a guy.
He's got a guy.
He got a guy that restores them. And the guy does concerts, apparently.
Oh.
So it's going to be a huge concert. That's at 10:30 in the morning. And then at noon is Jason's celebration.
Yeah.
Jason's birthday celebration.
Yeah, very good.
And other stuff.
rustforamerica@gmail.com if you want to come hang out with us.
All right, point total. Little lower today because it's not the weekend. Let's see what we get here. We got all the way up to 46 contributors, 47 contributors in the chat today. Challenge anybody else to get that organically. Number 10. No, actually, we got to go. Oh, wow. Okay, we got to go all the way now to number 13. Let's go to number 14. Well, we got to go 15, 16, 17. Okay, they're all at number 2. Okay, all the way down to 17 because that's 200 points, where the 200 points starts at 17. Sorry, Tom Heller with 175 points, but we go to Christy Avery, Shrog Sandwich, C. Mills, Drew, all with 200 points.
Yes.
And then at number 13 is Rock Laws, Mad Duck, Sue Seifert, Alan C., all with 225 points. Alan was number 10. Number 9 is Spray Jockey with 275 points. MLM Warriors, 350 points. McLovins, 375. Chris Chafin, 375. Gets us to number 5, which is Steve Green with 425 points. Josh Richardson, 625. Driver, 650. Kevin Branham, 675. And number 1, all the way up with 800 points, Rusted Bolt Garage. And one person, there's MLM Warriors there. I think he turned his chat off at some point, or turned the points total off at some point because he didn't want to hog the top spot. So we appreciate that. All right, so that'll do it for the chat. Anything else you got for me?
No,
Rob?
that's it.
Any other information you need? Any good, insightful comments or
no
to get you through the day? Nothing? Okay. Well, that'll do it for me then. And this chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We do appreciate John McKinney's continued sponsorship of that. John Russ sponsoring the third hour. That does it for me. We'll see you tomorrow. Happy Wednesday, and enjoy your double Ds tonight, guys.
Yeah, we're going to drop out of here just a little bit early. Get the studio set up. We got some interviews to do, Statehouse Happenings, which will come out hopefully this evening or tomorrow morning at the latest. So we'll duck out of here just a few minutes early. You guys have been awesome as always. Be careful out there with the severe weather. Take care of yourself, and we will look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow morning, 9 until noon, the Rob Kendall Show. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to the Rob Kendall Show.